And to be sick, that's crazy.
Yeah. I didn't plan to cough just when I said when I start. Actually, this is the least I've coughed all day.
Oh, that's good at least. Okay, I would like to call to order the May 14th Explore Academy Las Cruces Governing Council meeting. And it is 6:08. If we could do a roll call, Member Pahi or Secretary Pahi.
Yes. Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christina Reyes,
Yes.
Linnell Packy Fritz.
Perfect. And that is a quorum with our three. It does look like Member Graham will be joining us later, so if you could just make a note of when she joins. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, right into this is public comment. So at this time, we would like to do public comment regarding any item that is currently on the agenda. Members of the public attending this meeting, you are invited to address the board regarding, again, items listed on the agenda at this time. Board members should not respond until the topic is discussed later in the agenda. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. Please make sure that you state your name, relationship to the school, and the agenda item that you're speaking to. And then comments regarding other topics, that is at the end of the meeting. So if you are wanting to make a public comment at this time, please put in the chat that that is what you are desiring to do, or raise your hand. And again, this is for anything that is on the current agenda. Also, Karen, it does look like Gabby is in the, oh, perfect. Okay. Seeing none for public comment at this time. Oh, we do. Excuse me. Miss Black.
So Ms. Black, I'm going to promote you to the panel so you can unmute and make your comment. Try that again.
Hi. Sorry, I was like, I'm at a football thing and another Zoom trying to do all the things. So I just wanted to say as a public comment, one, from a teacher standpoint or from an instructional coach standpoint, I think the 205-day calendar is the best bet. I really want us to think about our students who are really food insecure. You're right. They need to be in the school. They need to get as many meals as we can get into them. And just when we're thinking about terms, on the 4-day calendar, our term drops to 20 days. And on the 5-day calendar, our term is like 23 to 24 days. And I think anything we can do to get students more access to content is going to help them be more successful. So that's my public comment.
Thank you, Miss Black.
I'm going to send you back to the attendees. Thank you.
Any other public comment at this time? So far, I'm not seeing anything. Again, please put it in the chat or raise your hand. Your digital hand is in the bottom of your screen if you are wanting to make a public comment. And just make sure that it stays raised. There you go. We do have another one, Karen. And again, please make sure that you state your name and relationship to the school before you address the board, please. Thank you.
Ms. Paul, if you could unmute yourself, you're welcome to make your comment.
Hi there, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Pohl. I'm the parent of a first grader at the Telshore campus.
And your comment?
I'm here to support the 4-day week with the 175-day calendar that Dr. Hall sent out yesterday in a newsletter. The 205 days of school, 5 days a week, is a very large amount of class for elementary school students to attend. As a current high school teacher with the public schools, I've seen a difference when there's an increase in days. It doesn't necessarily mean that student work quality and ethic have will improve. It also has increased the teacher burnout in the public school system as well. I know the length of the term breaks has been addressed, but from my understanding, it seems like the term breaks are an option that that are controlled by the school personnel. So potentially looking at extending the term breaks to address what the previous commenter did about having a short amount of time with students. Because just like with physical exercise, there's a point at which more time spent doesn't mean better outcomes, and students' ability to focus and absorb information declines as fatigue sets in, and especially if the added time isn't used effectively. More school days can lead to burnout, stress, and reduced motivation, particularly if students don't have adequate time for rest, physical activity, creative pursuits, or family life, which are all factors shown to support better academic performance. I also would like to point out that one of the reasons that we did choose Explore Academy is because of the altered schedule at the 4.5 days. And so we would like to continue to support the 4-day schedule. Because again, I'd like to stress that I think 205 days for elementary school is not going to benefit the mental well-being of the students and the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Just gonna call some time, but thank you very much, Ms. Paul. We have one more board members. Let me just move her back to the attendees. We have oh, now people are getting confident. Miss or Mr. Chris Croft. I'm going to promote to the panel. Oh. No, somehow that person took their hand down, and so the next person on the list, oh, back up again. Hold on a second. Let me.
Hello?
Yes, Miss
Platon?
Brennan?
Yes.
Platon. Sorry. I was trying to call someone else, but they took their hand down and the machine jumped to you. So let's go ahead and let you make your comment, and then I'll go back to Chris Cockcroft after that. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to reiterate, a lot of the points that the previous person said as well. I have 2 children in the school, and I am definitely for 4-day week. And I think one of the reasons we chose Explore Academy is just because of how unique it is, the approach to education. And I feel that at this point, it's been proven on a global scale, really, that 4-day week increases productivity. And especially when we're talking about, kindergarten and first grades and lower grades, I think 205 days, especially with such extreme short summer break, is more of just counting hours versus having an actual impact on education. So I definitely think having more productive 4 days and allowing for more time off and family time is definitely going to be a huge improvement in education.
Thank you for your comment. I'm going to return you to the audience. And then now I will try to promote the other person. There we go. If you could unmute yourself, you're welcome to make your public comment. Please identify yourself and your relationship to the school.
Hello, my name is Chris Cockcroft, and I have a daughter. She started in kindergarten, and then she got moved up to first grade. And that's one of the things I like about the school is the flexibility. And I was planning on enrolling my son this next year, and possibly even my older daughter, which is currently going to LCCS, over for middle school. But the 4-day week is kind of is putting a thorn in that, because it's not it doesn't match my family's work ethic. We want our kids to go to school 5 days a week and have more of a regular schedule. we want to spread out their education days a little bit. So they have a little bit less time each day, but more days so that they can uh, avoid burnout in a different way. It's 5 days a week. It's a little less time each day, but it's more consistent, and that's what we want in a school. So if it goes to the 4 day, unfortunately, we will be withdrawing our kids because that's not what we want, and we'll try and find somewhere else. But I really hope you guys pick the 5 day week. I think it's better for the kids in the long run.
Thank you. I will put you back to the attendees, Mr. Cockcroft.
Thank you.
Okay, last call for public comment. If you would like to make a comment on something that is on our agenda for tonight, please raise your hand. We have one more.
Mhm. Ms. Garten, you can unmute yourself and give your comment. Please identify yourself and your relationship.
Hi, yes. So I'm Christina Garten, and I have a second grader currently at Explore Academy. And I would like to give another vote in favor of the 5 day week schedule, even though it means more days a week. I think having the shorter school day will help to deal with fatigue. I can't imagine my kid going longer to school without him just getting tired and exhausted and, shutting off once you get that extra half an hour. So, yeah, it's one more day a week, but I think it'll be a lot better for him and other kids mentally. I think the funding to hire more teachers and to get the staff we need is going to do a lot more for teacher burnout than having an extra day off. Because if the teachers are spending that extra day off working all the things that they can't do because they don't have the staff to support them or the funding in place to give them the supports they need at school, I mean, that's going to definitely impact what they're able to do as educators. And the joy of being a charter school, and part of the reason we chose a charter school is that there is a flexibility in what we can do versus what the public schools can do. And so I feel like those extra days off are opportunities for creative thinking on ways to help the students and the teachers with the potential of burnout. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garten. I'll put you back to the attendees now.
Okay. Seeing no additional hand raises, let's move on to approval of our current agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion that we approve the current agenda.
Do we have a second?
I will second it.
We actually had member Pahi. Thank you, Graham. Member Graham but member Pahi, I think you were first for that second. Thank you. Everybody's just willing to vote. It's great. All those in favor of approving the agenda? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is the approval of the minutes for our fairly short May 8th special meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Graham makes a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I was not in attendance, so I can't second
I
that.
second that.
Thank you, member Pahi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Christine, I think you would abstain technically.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. If we're being super formal, but that still passes with yes for 3 and then an abstain. Okay, moving right along. It does look like we have several. This is amazing. We have 3 now. Even better. Sorry. Just got really excited. We do have 3 potential board members for of course the board. So if you haven't had a chance to skim through the resumes. I'll just give you like a couple of like a little time to do that if you were able to. Wonderful. Karen, we haven't done this in so long. I can't even remember. Do we normally bring them into the okay?
That is completely at the discretion of the board, but I did advise them that you might very well want to bring them to the panel and meet them and ask questions if you have any, or allow them to introduce themselves. So I do believe that all three, let me just make sure. Yes, all three are in attendance. So I stand to your direction if you wanted to bring them all in at the same time and have them each introduce themselves, or if you prefer to do one at a time. But I think it would be nice for the board to meet these folks. So
For sure.
I think it would be appropriate, but again, at the board's discretion.
I think we can yeah, let's just bring them all on. Does everybody agree with that?
It's fine.
Okay. So potential board candidates out there, I'm going to promote you to the panel. You'll have to accept the promotion and we'll see you up here on the panel with us. So one, two, and three. And I would just like to preface and say that all three obviously provided resumes. I have spoken to all three of these people as the liaison and explained the board expectations and training requirements and such. So feel very confident in all three of these individuals. And I know the board has been looking to add at least two. Certainly can add three. Your bylaws say 5 to 9 is allowed. So with that, I just wanted you to know that they have been prepared about what's expected and what's required for training, and have had a meeting with me at one point or another. So I highly recommend all three candidates, and turn it over to you.
Thank you all so much for joining today. Really appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I mean, this will be like your normal second Tuesday of the month anyways. So I mean, you might as well get used to it, right? So if you let's just start with Terry. If you just want to introduce yourself. We do have your resume in front of us. So if you just want to give us kind of the high level, like why would you like to join the board? And if any of the other board members have particular questions, we'll certainly just I don't anticipate this being like an interrogation, y'all. So just want to get to know you guys a little bit more.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name's Terry Moore. I'm a retired math teacher. I spent 11 years teaching here in Georgia. And I taught for a couple years in Las Cruces at the Mesilla Valley Leadership Academy. My interest in being in the board is a couple of things. I was welcomed so warmly in Las Cruces. I would like to give back some more to the area, to be part of the community. It's always been a big deal. The second thing is I'm a sociologist, sociology major at a local college, and my interest is in the relationship between education and family, and it ties in with how y'all approach the education with tailoring it to the students and the family. That's it.
I mean, it looks like you also have a background in industrial management. What ended up making you go into the classroom, if I can just ask that? Like, what motivated you to do a secondary career, I guess?
Well, what happened was that there were changes in my family life, and my parents moved out to Las Cruces in 1997. And so two things happened. One, like I already said, was I wanted to get into my community. And number two is, and this is a little kind of practical, maybe overly practical, but employment as a math teacher was pretty wide open. And I knew someday that I was going to be going out to New Mexico or someplace similar to help out with my parents. And my sisters had also moved to New Mexico. So I knew that management was okay, but it's a much more difficult job market. And so then I taught here and I fell in love with teaching. And I mean, I just did all kinds of things with coaching and started programs, wrote grants and things. So then I got a great opportunity at MVLA, and it just rolled. The whole thing just worked out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Terry. Any other board members have questions for Terry?
As far as
Okay.
math, as far as
Oh,
math
go ahead.
goes, I just have a question. As far as math goes, is it just your basic math or what math, what other type of math?
Well, here in Georgia, I started out teaching remedial math at a low income Title I school. And then eventually I got some more certifications in gifted. And then I got certified as a high school math teacher. And so I taught accelerated math for the last couple of years there. And then, it was a very small student body at MVLA, but there was a student there that was taking high school algebra, and I got to work with her there.
Thank you.
Co-Chair Reyes or Member Pahi, do you have any further questions at this time?
I do not.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Terry. Let's do Anna. Anna?
Yes,
Anna.
good evening.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Anna Emmerich Bayad, and I'm excited to visit with you all. So please ask me any questions that you might have.
The super extensive background in both community, right? Business, as well as the founder of the Acton Academy, or also the Mission Academy at that point in time, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. I guess my question at this point is what is motivating you to want to be on the Explore Las Cruces board?
Two of my children attend Explore, and so I definitely have skin in the game to do whatever I can to help the school be the best that it can be. But besides that, I'm just really passionate about reinventing education, especially in New Mexico. I think it's just so sad that we're continually last. And so I see Explore really trying to make a difference and bring something fresh to the community. And that's just something that brings me so much joy, working with kids and working in something that feels so meaningful and impactful to really make a difference in the kids' lives. I really enjoy project-based learning, and so developing like school-wide things like our children's business fair. And so I'm very familiar with kind of creating different school-wide projects. So I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And I think this would be a really fun opportunity to get to work with everyone at Explore. And I feel like you're trying to build something special, and that's really hard. And it takes a lot of people who care to show up and put in the work to build something that's excellent. And that's what our town needs, is truly schools that are trying to do something excellent for the kids.
I see here that you have experience with project-based learning. And so can you share with me an example of one of the projects that you were supportive of, or how you developed it? Mostly, I want to know like how you developed it, how you assessed it, and what outcomes you thought were most beneficial from that.
Sure, great question. I always to have something in mind that was a real world project. So I think our business fair is a great example. So we started and from kindergarten all the way through high school, and the project got more and more complex as the children got older. So that included building a business plan, learning about marketing. Our high school students were learning about website development, learning how to accept credit cards in their business. So that project in itself taught them so many impressive skills. I have one young lady who started in our program at 6th grade, and then she just recently graduated high school and is now attending NMSU. And she has a viable business that she is actually running today that she started in 6th grade. So that would be one example. Another example that we rolled out was a recycling and repurposing project that included even in our garden composting. And then middle school did a whole fashion show of items that were made out of all recycled and repurposed products. So we spent a lot of time thinking about what are the standards that we're trying to teach, and then including that into the project. We really looked for a variety of outcomes, from observable outcomes to their written work. And we tried to bring in experts to provide feedback to the students. So if they were building robots, somebody from the university, we would coordinate to come in and provide real feedback to them. So we worked with teachers. I would hire educational experts to also help us build curriculum. And we did a lot of the planning in the summer. So we had our whole learning arc built out, for the year. And then made sure that, of course, it's all grade appropriate. So that everybody could participate. And that's what made it really fun, because the older kids could mentor the younger students, and it really created this tight-knit community. And I think that's something special about Explore, is you do have all the grade bands, and having the older students recognize that they are mentors and leaders, I think can be a very great opportunity for them as well.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody have questions for Miss Emmerich Baird? No? Okay, thank you so much for your comments. All right, Angel.
Hello, my name is Angel Rivera. I am a parent of 3 kiddos that go to Explore, 1 in the middle school and 2 at the elementary school. My day job revolves mostly around finance and business. I work for AT&T on one of their government contracts, and so I have a lot of knowledge, I would say, in that department. And I think it would really round out the board to have some people with a lot more finance experience that can have some of those very direct finance conversations that most people may not think about. I love working with the kiddos. I am the PTO treasurer right now, so I am no stranger to the school. I would say several of the teachers know me, and most of the administration very well. So I have a very vested interest in Explore and how well it does, and I know it can be a wonderful school. And we just have to keep showing our community that we are continuing to grow, we are continuing to learn, and we're just doing the best we can. We're being transparent and fiscally responsible as we keep bringing in kids and keep growing.
Great comment.
Any other questions from board members for Angel? Wonderful. Well, thank you all 3 candidates. I think we're going to send you through cyberspace back to the regular attendees, and then we will go from there. We'll make all the decisions now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm gonna send you back to the attendees place. Change your role to attendee. Thank you so much. And then
Okay, so at this point we can have continued discussion, or we could motion to nominate any of these three candidates to the board at this time.
Can we nominate all three of them or?
Yes, we can. That would make our board a board of 7, which is the largest board we've ever had, which makes me happy. But yeah, that would make us a board of 7 if we nominated all 3.
Okay. And we're not going to close session for that. We're doing it here.
Yep.
Okay. I nominate all three. All three of them seem to have real good attributes, different, and I think that there would be a benefit to have all three of them.
That is your motion to nominate, correct?
Correct.
Or do we have to nominate, or can we just approve, Karen? What's the best language there?
I think to designate,
Okay.
I think I understood Ms. Member Graham's motion to be to designate all 3.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. That's what I agree with. Do we have a second?
I will second. It will help with diversifying our board a little bit more, including more parents on the board. So then that would make 3 parents on the board, including Member Pahi. So I would second that motion that we accept all 3.
Can we do a roll call, please, Secretary Pahi?
Yeah, Claire Riley,
Yes. Sorry.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gabriella Brown,
Oh, yes.
Linnell Pahi, yes.
So with that, motion passes and we have 3 new board members. I just wanted to say, board members, I will be reaching out with paperwork and documents that need to be completed and signed, one of which needs to be notarized, that needs to be submitted to the Public Education Department, specifically the Charter Schools Division, for our Chartering Authority, Public Education Commission, because you all will now be on the governing board and part of the Board of Finance for this school. There is paperwork to complete. I'll be in touch with all 3 of you. Thank you very much.
Love you.
Okay. So sorry about that. Perfect. So moving on to the school year 26 contracts. So the first contract, this is for the educational model support. So this is, of course, through New Mexico ACES, Ally OP LLC, formerly known as Explore Learning Systems, has put in a proposal to New Mexico ACES, and also a quote for next year for those services that are in their proposal. And so this is a time to discuss said proposal and any thoughts, questions, comments?
Chair Riley, when is the decision about services and RFPs due? When do those have to be decided?
I mean, I would assume before the next school year.
Well, I meant,
Uh,
is there a deadline for deciding on programs or services?
Not to my knowledge. I do not believe that New Mexico ACES has like a deadline or anything for this RFP or our decision for this RFP, to my knowledge.
But this is only the Alley Pop proposal, right? We're not discussing the other potential services available in ACES, only the current one that would continue with what we already have, right? Is that, I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of cold medicine.
it's the one that's in the agenda. So the one that's in the agenda is the proposal and the quote that we've gotten from Ally OP, formerly Explore Learning Systems, and it's for mainly services regarding like teacher training, new teacher mentorship on the model, staff support, evaluations, curriculum, logistics and scheduling support. So it's just the model of services.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one that we've discussed.
Yeah, no, I knew that. I'm just I was just asking. I didn't, sorry. I can't think. I can't get my words out. I'm having lots of trouble with words.
Students, this is your brain on drugs. Don't do that. Just kidding. I'm sorry. Yes, it's on the record. Who cares? Tony, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to talk to the timeline of things. It's that our current contract with Explore Learning Systems ends on June 30th. And so a lot of things have to be done in the summertime. And so, there's no, you can get a contract anytime. It's just, yeah, it's really kind of important that a decision is made because of the fact that a lot gets done in the summertime. And I mean, as head administrator, for sure, I would have to know what services we are going to have so that I can do the best job that I can do. And so, I did want to talk to a little bit that ELS and what they do. And this is the base model. And I know on the quote on here, it doesn't say, but I think in the proposal, it says exactly like scheduling and, flavors and course building and instructional support and all of those things. So it's really important that we make a decision because of the fact that we would have to plan around that decision. So it's just really important. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw it out there that it's not like we have a lot of time, and it's not because it's a big decision. And so I just want really the board to really consider it seriously because it's a big decision, and I know it's also, the price is there, you can see it. And I know the budget's later, so this is kind of where this came now, but the budget discussion is later. And so, the decisions would have to be made if this is adopted, and decision would have to be made if this is not adopted and all that. So I just urge that you guys talk about it. It's really important. It's a lot of support that is given in this number for our school. Thank you.
Okay, so in true Clara fashion, I put this in ChatGPT, so that's just what I do. And started asking it questions based off of my questions. I definitely think there are pros to continuing with this this contract. Okay. Of course, this is deep expertise in Explore Learning model. This is the founder and the founding team of the model. These are, of course, services offered that is fairly comprehensive when it comes to the model itself. There's some services in here that are not included that would be an additional cost. So those that are currently being provided to the school as of right now, this does not include all of those services. So there would be, in addition to the $410 per student cost for the model, there would be other services. So we have to think about the fact that for those additional services, that cost may go up if we continue to do those through Ally OP themselves versus New Mexico ACEs. Of course, this is our existing infrastructure, right? This is currently what we're doing. So that's absolutely a pro to this. And there's, you know, we definitely know the company. We've been with them for, you know, this many years, right? I definitely think there are a lot of cons, and I will be perfectly honest about those, because I think that they need to be, you know, put forth. That there really is a con for the reputation and the leadership risk. Justin's name is still all over this proposal. Although Alicia signed it, like, Justin is still considered one of their key people. And, you know, our history with that and the issues that we currently have with his leadership, him having to step down, us really having to put forth a large separation between our organization and Explore. I mean, they even redid their name specifically to kind of get away from that too. So that, you know, that reputation and leadership, like, we can't not think that is a factor that comes into this. High cost, like $410 per student. Like, I understand that they provide a lot of services, but for a school that's been together for now 5 years, you know, there's some services that I believe the school should be handling for a school that's been around long enough to have the infrastructure to be able to put these services together. I do think that there's some other things here, you know, the fact that they are a third party, like, there's limited independent oversight auditing of that particular model. I do, you know, I will be honest, I do think that there are conflict of interest in general with a lot of the Ally OP staff and our school. And ultimately, I do want to say that whether we go with this contract or not does not mean that the overall model has to change that significantly. There are still ways to continue to do choice modeling, giving students the flexibility of what they're doing, still be able to have the really amazing outcomes that we have, and change, you know, where we're not going with a service provider that we do have, you know, some issues with.
Excuse me, I just want to note that one of the new board members has her hand raised, so I don't know, do you want me to allow them to speak? I don't know what to do with that, but I mean, as a designated board member, are they new board members immediately or not till, I don't know. I defer, but pointing out the hand is raised.
I think, I don't know. Do we want to bring Dustin on? He might be good to answer that question. But the you know, the other thing that I definitely have to, you know, within that reputation of leadership issue, you know, I have an active police report with Justin Bayardo. So there's even a conflict of interest when it comes to that piece. You know, and we're currently, you know, trying to determine you know, culpability in that particular police report. So I come from, you know, some personal experience with, you know, this company, or at least the leader of said company, not doing some things that have put the school in very precarious positions putting board members in precarious positions, and in general, like if the leader of that company has those issues, you know, we like can the school continue to do business with them? If we've been put in a situation where we're potentially in you know, major conflict with this particular company. If we can't trust their business practices, how are we supposed to trust them as a third party person and pay them $410 per student? So I'll shut up and let some other board members talk.
I'm not comfortable agreeing to the contract carte blanche. I think that there are some other avenues where we could save some money and get the same services through the RFP process, through the ACEs. There are a number of services that we could take advantage of that would be much less costly. The model of the school will not change. The program model, the teacher emphasis on student choice would not change. But I'm really uncomfortable with the price for all the services that are provided. And so I'm sorry, Member Pahi, I will let you speak. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask if that is the projected amount of student enrolled number and if it was going to be adjusted, but I did find the answer on that form that it will be adjusted if it was a lower or higher number. I'm also uncomfortable with the price per student for the services rendered. But unfortunately, I don't know what the other options are. If somebody wants to speak to that.
Is your question, what are the other options with the Ally OP contract, or what are the other options for going external of this contract?
Yes, if we go external from this contract.
So if we go external from this contract, ultimately, as long as we stay within the mission of our school, which I think all of us have at heart, how we implement a learning model isn't dictated. So that would be empowering the leadership of the school and the current teachers and instructional coaches at the school to take what they know about what we're currently doing and continue to implement what we love or add what we want to add, whatever that looks like. But that would be something that we would have to work with the leadership of the school on, is to figure out exactly how we're going to implement a model within our mission for next year.
So, Member Pahi, sorry, some of the services would be like the business services. Dr. Hull and her team would do more of the assessment services. So things like that are in this contract, not necessarily just throwing out the whole model, but moving to the services that are beneficial to the school student enrollment. Dr. Hull probably can answer the services that are most beneficial to the school in terms of things that are not teaching.
But again, are you speaking of like outside of this model, like other vendors, or are you just talking about, again, negotiating within this contract? I guess that was my question.
I guess both.
So, through New Mexico ACEs, like we have the opportunity to go to the table for sure and negotiate these services down. I definitely think if we did that, then there would have to be some stipulations for what that looks like, especially with all of our concerns. And of course, we would have to determine what are those services that we felt like were the most useful. But yeah, and they could technically could not come to the table. Like Ally OP could not come to the table if they chose to not come to the table. So that's definitely an option as well. If they didn't want to negotiate this and if there was no wiggle room in this. And then the school would, Axiom is a great resource for pointing out other vendors. New Mexico ACES has other vendors for some of the other things that might be. So that's what Co-Chair Reyes was talking about, is that there are other vendors that can provide some of these services, or it might be going directly to the vendor versus having this as like an external service, like funneled through Ally OP. Great question. And I hope I answered it.
Yes, I feel like I just wouldn't be truthful in my thought process right now, giving just the information that I have in front of me right now, and then given the timeline of, I guess, the end of next month, I feel like I need to take that into a conversation with the board so I can get more information. Of course, with Dr. Hull as well.
Are you talking about like at the June board meeting?
See, that is where I think that would be too late.
So are you proposing a special board meeting to discuss just this?
I would like to. Is that an option?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's absolutely an option. We could certainly table this and have another special board meeting. We'd have to find a time for, now that we're going to have 7, right? It would be that we'd have to have at least four of us available in order to have a quorum for that. But it would be an open session too. So it would be so I guess my only question then is, like, what information do you need or want between now and a special board meeting?
I guess the list of the services that are not going to be outlined, what we've generally done this past year. Anything else that any other services that were provided to Dr. Hull, the staff. I just want to have a clear understanding of all the services that we're taking advantage of now, that will be provided, and then what we're looking at as an outcome for the next upcoming school year. I feel like I really don't have enough information to vote on this tonight.
Member Graham, do you have any questions or comments or thoughts?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Member Pahi as well. I think it's important for us to find out exactly what services we're getting that are working, and which services are not, that we don't need. And that 410 per student is pretty high.
It's very high. I think that my continued concern is staying in business with a company that we have such a conflict with. So whether we're talking about these services or not, I mean, yeah, we could go to the table and we could negotiate services, but are we even comfortable staying in business with this company? I mean, I think that ultimately that's the decision that has to be made. If we're comfortable staying in business with this company, then sure, yeah, let's go to the table and negotiate. But ultimately the decision is whether we even want to continue, even if we want to go to the table. Because that's ultimately the question I have, of whether we're even comfortable continuing to do business with, a company that we're accusing of fraud, if we will.
And you're talking about New Mexico ACES, or is that?
No, I'm talking about Explore Learning Systems.
Oh, okay, no.
So Remember, New Mexico ACES is just a flow through. This contract is coming from Explore Learning Systems.
I think that's where I had the mix up as well. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So this is actually coming from Explore Learning Systems. It's just that they've rebranded their name to Ally OP. And then they are going through a third party RFP organization that takes proposals called New Mexico ACES. But this is coming directly from like Alicia and Justin. Did that help clarify? Sorry that wasn't, I apologize that wasn't clear.
Yeah, that clarified it a little bit better.
Okay, so is it still then?
Dr. Hull's had her hand up for a bit, just pointing that out. If you can't see it, it's the yellow one in the corner. It blends into the background. I barely saw it.
Oh, okay. That's okay. No, I just wanted to just clarify some things. Because I know we're talking about the other things. I just want to urge that you do go to the table, because there are things in here that are infrastructure that if you look on page 3, like the capability and all that, it goes through each one, the scheduling being one of the largest pieces that and I don't know if this is a bundle, if it can be broken apart. I have no idea. So, I mean, those are questions that, but like that piece is humongous. And just to figure that out, yeah. I mean, if we had a special meeting, I think that's a great idea because of the fact that sooner than later, like that is huge. The transcripting, huge. All of the, it says, talks about like forms and one of the things we pride ourselves on is like Go Guardian and how we're able to securely give exams and all of that. And so that there's a lot of learning that expertise that, yeah, we like board member Pahi said, we'd have to figure out how to do that. And so, which as a head admin, again, that's a lot. I'm just saying, to get, there's not a lot to like forever learn, but it's just a lot if I'm looking at June and then kids come in July 28th or whatever it might be. So, some of the other areas maybe not, are more in our wheelhouse as educators and instructional leaders. But those types of things, the data analysis and all that. So just, yeah, I'm just urging that. I don't know if this can be broken apart. I'm not sure how that works with RFPs and ACEs and things like that. But so yeah, and also like the website and all the Google emails and what does that look like? So, I mean, there's so many pieces when you peel back the onion of the infrastructure of it all. So, and yes, I agree. Like $410, that's something that when you get to the budget, everyone will see that we don't have enough money to support that unless we're going to cut staff. So, how does that look? So, but also with our relationship in the past, I feel like going to the table and talking about it is a good idea. And so I just urge that we do that because there's certain pieces there that would take longer than even if I knew today to get it ready for July 28th. As we're recruiting, because number one right now, it's all about recruitment of our students. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Appreciate your comments, Tony. Of course, we want to make sure that we can continue to operate this school. That is absolutely high priority, of course. I mean, I'll just reiterate, I have a really hard time staying in business with this company. That's really what it comes down to. So, y'all will probably know what my vote is. So, but yeah, at this point, it's there's a few options. We can table and we can set this up for a special board meeting to discuss. Okay. And And then that would be where we would have to make the decision. Number one, do we continue in business or not? Right? That's the biggest question. And then if we do, what are then the services that we would negotiate to fit what we actually feel like is needed for our school? So those are kind of like the two questions. So you know, at this point, it's the motion is there for anybody to take if there is one.
I motion that we convene, or we not vote on this tonight, that we reconvene next week, because we need 72 hours, right, Karen, to post it. Okay, so that we have time to get those documents and other proposals that are available for the services, and then get a list of services that Dr. Hull, you don't what? Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop you in the middle of your motion. My bad.
No, it's okay. That we not vote on this tonight, and we have a special session to look at options for services that are provided by this company.
My only concern was next week. I'm just not sure if we'll be able to compile it by then, but that was my only concern.
Oh, your only concern. I can do the week after, but after that I have student leadership training most of the summer.
So it'd probably be table until a special board meeting.
I think that's the motion. She's asking, we're not gonna stop this meeting. We're gonna.
No. Table it until, but I just didn't know, like, to say next week. That was my amendment to your motion, was to not say next week, but just to generalize to a special board meeting.
Got it. I thought we had to
future.
create a date. Okay, I thought we had to create a date. Okay, so I vote that we table the decision to vote on this until another special session. And that we have it soon.
I will second that motion.
Roll call.
Clara Rowley,
No.
Christine Reyes,
Her for now.
Gabriella Brown,
Boy, it's cutting it short. Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes, that we table it.
Member Pahi, I don't think we got your vote.
oh, yes, please.
Okay. I was like, I just wanted to make sure we got yours too. Okay. Motion passes. So that will be tabled until a special board meeting. The next is the financial services. So this is with Axiom. This is very similar to last year's, their scope of work. There is a slight change in here. So they did provide 3 different quotes for us on page 3. And those 3 quotes are so that we can, so today would be to approve the contract, but then we would need to approve the contract with which services we're asking for them. So the regular rate is without, so if you look at the very bottom, the smallest one is without capital outlay and grant services. Then they do provide grant services. So this would be applying for all of the grants. And that is currently a service that we pay Explore Learning Systems for. And this is a service that Axiom is providing to us. And it's for $10,000, so that you'll see that the next quote goes up for a capital outlay or grant services for $10,000 more. And then if we want both, then that would go for another $10,000. So both of those services are $10,000. Capital outlay would essentially be funding outside of other grants or bonds, right? So capital outlay would be additional funding for things. From what I talked to Katie about, she has someone who's really great at getting capital outlay funds. was able to actually get like $100,000 for another school just recently. So, and of course, capital being mainly for buildings or anything like that, right? So those are the different service levels. Again, the lowest level being just what we're currently getting, like the main scope of work that we've been getting for the last year, and then the 2 additional options that we have there.
I guess this
And
would
this-
be a
ahead.
question for a new board member who's into the financial stuff, if they're able to do any type of grants.
Well, we would still want somebody to do, like, we wouldn't want a board member to be responsible for grants. That would potentially be, yeah.
That can be a full-time job.
Yeah. So this would be essentially having a person who's dedicated to doing just grants, but through Axiom, right?
Okay.
Who is our financial person who oversees all the finances for the grants too. So it kind of goes, I think, hand in hand. Most of these 3 services that we're asking for, their main services, and then the 3 additional, I think really go, they're very much tied together when it comes to finances. And given our need for in the future, definitely some additional grants outside of just the regular state grants, and then some funding outside of the regular grant funding in general. These are both services that I would potentially recommend for our school for the financial betterment and really trying to give ourselves a sustainable footing. Those are my suggestions, but again, it's really up to what we want to do. And again, 3 different types, right? So we could do all of them at the very high one. The middle one, we could say, hey, we're not going to do capital outlay this year, but we want grants, or vice versa. And then the lowest one being, just what the current services are.
Again, I don't know. I'm being torn here by new members who are interested in the discussion and want to be involved.
They are not. They will not take on their full role until the next board meeting. We did consult with legal.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think in order for Explore Academy to succeed and stuff, we're gonna have to at least look into getting some other resources to bring in money, capital outlay, and for, just other grants and stuff that are out there.
To be clear, they're talking about the federal grants, IDA, Title I, Title II. They're not talking about writing additional grants. That's the grants you already received, the federal processing of the federal grants, IDA, Title I, Title II, Title III if you're eligible, etc. They're not talking about writing other kinds of grants. I'm fairly confident. If you want to confirm that with Josh or Katie, Josh is in the audience.
We can certainly bring Josh on too if you guys have any questions.
I'm sorry, I just didn't want a false perception that included like grant writing services or something else, right? We're talking, that's all. But I can bring Josh up if you'd like. Is that do you want me to do that? Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, he actually just texted me. They do have a grant writer on staff. So it is also writing grants.
So that 10,000 would include the grant writing services?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm here to answer any questions that you all may have regarding Axiom. I know when I first came on here, they had some questions about grant writing. We do have a grant writer on staff who's very good at finding grants and the state and around the nation. She writes them and has full control over those grants and works with the school that we do provide this service for. And in order for us to adequately control the funds and gather any information the school has outside of the title funds, the federal funds that the school is already connected to, and federal funds as well. So we do handle federal funds and other funds outside of federal funds.
Thank you, Josh, for that explanation.
Sure.
And Josh, the one that we currently have services for right now is the capital outlay and the grant services.
No, you currently just have the finance services for us to handle your budgets and handle payroll, things of that nature. Just kind of like the back office business items. The capital outlay and the grant writing would be additional services that you don't have currently.
Hey, are there any other questions or discussion points at this time or a motion to be made?
I don't have any additional questions.
Is this similar to the current I mean, this isn't this has more additions than the current contract we have, correct?
Only in the capital outlay and grant services. All the rest of it
Okay.
is the same services we're currently being provided.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking for where's the difference? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's just in that piece, just in that literal, I think it's just paragraph 5.
Compensation and payment
Yep.
terms.
That's the only change
Okay.
is in
I was
paragraph
like,
5.
this looks very
You're like,
familiar.
what? This is exactly what we pretty much did last year. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
the only difference, again, we can certainly vote, like the motion could be to just continue with the current services. We could vote to do the mid grade, which is either capital outlay or grant services, and we would have to make that decision tonight, or we can have both options and just go with the 127 and have Axiom do all 3 of those services for us. But if we don't vote on this tonight, we would also have to table it until that special board meeting. So just like, these are decisions that need to be made, either tabling or a motion to approve at some level.
I make a motion that Axiom provide all 3 services for us.
Do we have a second? Okay, I will second. Can we do a roll call vote?
Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Packey, yes.
Perfect. And we will be tabling the legal services contract. It may be at the special board meeting or it might be till June, either of those options, but we will be tabling that tonight. Do we have a motion to table the legal services contract? Sorry, I meant to motion, not just say we're going to. My bad. Motion to table. That's what I meant. I motion to table the legal services until either our special board meeting or our June board meeting.
I will second that.
Roll call vote.
Claire Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Patton, yes.
Okay, the next discussion is the Del Rey lease. If we could promote Dustin Sparks to the.
Absolutely. And I assume I leave Josh because they're gonna get shortly into budget items and things.
That's fine. Yeah,
Is that okay?
he can just kind of
Hang out.
stay there in the ether and hang out with us. We like Josh.
Some days. Just kidding, Josh.
All days.
I understand.
Don't shoot the messenger, right? It's one of those. All right, there's Mr. Sparks. Just needs to unmute himself and
Perfect. Yeah, and I think that he's yeah, I was gonna say I know he's on the go. So he's gonna try to be here as much as he can. So okay. Just to thank you so much, Dustin. So to tee this off, this was kind of part of our well, this kind of came out of our closed session, right? Last time, when we were talking about the bond, and then we paused the bond to do some more investigation into the Del Rey lease, because there were some things that we were questioning on this. The one document that I still don't have the actual document, I only have a screenshot of, is the TI amortization schedule. And I do know that Josh does have another form that actually has different numbers on it. I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff up in the air on this whole thing. But so this is the discussion on this lease. And there's a couple of potential options. And so I wanted Dustin to be here because he was kind of the one that started to kind of uncover some of those options for us and to give us some potential of what this looks like and the decisions that we're going to have to make when it comes to kind of what we've uncovered with this lease. Just to also point out that this I think the lease that you're seeing in front of you on that is also the one that is still not executed correctly. This is still only executed with Justin's signature as the governing council president. There was one that I did sign that was sent to the landlord. My understanding.
Excuse me.
No. This is the one. No, you're good, Karen. You didn't make the mistake.
I just want to be clear that I didn't.
No, it's not you.
It's provided a copy.
Yeah, this is not your mistake. This is the correct one. So this is the one that Justin signed, and he was made aware of that he did sign on behalf of the governing council in June of when we signed this. And a new one was supposed to be executed, and I still do not believe that a full one has been executed with the correct signature on it. So that would be just know that this is the correct one, but that has been brought up. So you'll notice that Justin's signature is on there as the governing council president instead of mine. Dustin, I might just throw it over to you. I've talked a lot tonight, I feel.
All right, thank you. So just to clarify for the record, when we were in closed session, we were discussing a lease purchase, which is a permissible item for closed session. And now we're just talking about lease issues and not the purchase of real property. So that's not an acceptable topic for closed session. So that's why we are here publicly today versus when we were in closed session. So the school, Josh, noticed that there was a big increase in the lease payments starting around January, I believe, but feel free to correct me, Josh, of somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 that the lease payment went up. And so that was not budgeted for, was not approved by the governing council. And that increase in rent is causing the school to end the year in the red. So you're having to tap into reserves if you're going to pay all the bills that are due, because the full lease amount has been paid for a few months until kind of that processing took place and everyone got alerted and started digging into what happened. And so then discovered that in addition to the final lease that was not the version that was presented to the board and then signed by Clara as chair, the final version was then signed by Justin Bayardo with the title of board chair. And then there was within that lease, there was certain amount allocated for tenant improvement to build out and convert the Delray property from its prior use into a school. And the construction cost of doing that went drastically over what had been allocated by the landlord in the lease by about $2.5 million. And so then there's no record of that overage coming to the board being informed, hey, we need to spend an additional $2.5 million in order to build out Delray. There was a search of all the meeting minutes, resolutions, looking for signed documents, anything where the board was informed of this. There isn't any that anyone has produced. Then in November, Justin Bayardo used Clara's digital signature, and he informed us by email that he did this to then sign off on the tenant improvement dollars that increased by $2.5 million. And then that got added into the cost of the lease. And so you're paying about a 9% interest rate on that additional tenant improvement dollars that is then being spread out across the life of the loan, and then increases your monthly payment between $40,000 and $50,000 a month. And so you all didn't budget for it and can't really afford it. So you're now in a facility that you did not approve the cost of. And so the police report that Clara mentioned earlier is in regards to forgery of the unauthorized use of her signature to sign that document. Then, this continues to get complicated in that your Telshore property is financed through bonds, and then you have a lease with the Explore Academy Las Cruces Foundation. And though covenants under those bonds require you to meet certain financial conditions, and because you're going to end in the red, you're going to default on that bond. So there's been conversations with the landlord between Clara and Christine and now me with their attorney in regard to how do we find a solution so that there hopefully isn't bond default and the school can pay its bills, but also doesn't put the landlord in a bad situation that, as far as we know, was not of their making, that, they had a signature of the board chair, at least on those tenant improvements, and, had no reason to believe that, as far as we know, that it wasn't correct and approved. So what I've talked with Christine and Clara about is proposing to the landlord, can you hold off, delay some rent payments, May, June, which would get the school a lot closer to being in the black, and then, tack those on to the end of the lease. And so we're not saying we're not going to pay you if you can work out this arrangement, but and then in exchange, the school governing council would then affirm the lease, the tenant improvements, And so that we don't have a fight with them over all of that. Doesn't mean, that the investigation or the insurance claim, don't proceed in regards to the forgery, but instead of, having a bunch of legal costs and issues with the landlord, that at least there could be stability there and hopefully some help in the short term in getting some delay in those payments, and then the landlord knowing, hey, we don't have to fight about this, but we'll just add this on, to the lease later. So, questions, comments at this point? It's a lot of cricket.
Sorry,
Yeah,
lots of things.
It's just a very unfortunate situation. I mean, not much we can do except I guess pay for it at the end of the loan is what I'm not happy about. But if it means that, we're just gonna delay it, and I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, I would agree. I'm not sure if there's really an option here. Like some of our other situations, we're put into a corner and we're having to make this decision that shouldn't have to be made like this because of a third party contractor. Like it's too bad this is recorded because I want to be super candid, but it's whatever, it's bullshit, right? So that's my opinion. So I will just say that. I mean, I guess that really, I mean, the high level question is, do we stay in Delray or do we move past Delray? Right? I guess would be like a super duper high level if we wanted to, but the ramifications of doing so, I that's what I would be worried about. So that's not necessarily my first choice at all. So really it's can we come to the table and can we negotiate that there might be some leeway in all of this because of the other situations that we're dealing with. Right, Dustin, that's kind of, we're backed into, it's between a rock and a hard place essentially again.
Yeah, so it's hard to say. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say that. So you have a situation of under the lease where you can get out of it each year. So at minimum, and not really speaking to whether or not particularly the tenant improvement piece of it is enforceable against the school, but you can walk away from that lease every single year because as a requirement of New Mexico state law is that you can't commit yourself to multi-year fiscal appropriations, and you have to have the ability to back out, which is why you have to have that foundation be the one that enters into the bonds, and then you have a lease with them. So same with under this lease, you can get out of it each year. So if it makes the most sense to you all that you just say, hey, we're not allocating the funds to pay for this lease and we're going to operate out of Telshore for next year, you can do that. But if you don't think that makes the most sense and you want to continue with Delray, then yeah, we need to negotiate something with the landlord that gets you some financial relief in the short term so that you can be in a better fiscal position for next year. And that expansion and that lease is in large part, at least twice is what puts you in a situation where it didn't open when it was supposed to open, and you lost over 100 students that had enrolled in your school, which then led to the rift because you had such a huge budget shortfall. And then again, when you get hit in the new calendar year with a bill for over $40,000 per month that you did not budget for or anticipate. And so, that's been quite a problematic lease for you all. But if it makes sense for, the longer term to not just say, hey, we're done with it and walk away, then we need to work something out with the landlord so that you can stay and they can get paid eventually and you can, survive long enough to build up your enrollment so you can make those payments.
How much is the landlord willing to to actually budge and kind of be helpful with this as we've been tried.
I've only had email exchanges with their attorney, and we're discussing at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm hoping to have guidance from you all as to what you want at this point before I go into that conversation.
I guess, Clara, I guess we need to find out if the landlord is willing to work with us.
What was the number again? 2.5 million?
Well, and
Of
even then,
overages,
Josh, I think you have a different number, right? Then it's my understanding of the whole situation that the original lease we approved like 28 million was the tenant improvement that we had like approved in the lease. But then there's a 2.8, excuse me. And then there's another document, the TI document, that says it's that number plus like 3 million. But then the one that you have, I think, says 3 million is the tenant improvement, which is where the discrepancy comes from, because that alone was not approved by the board. And then the overages weren't approved. So like the increase to the tenant improvement allowance from the lease was not approved by the board. And then there was another. So I think overall, I think the full bill is like 6 million, isn't it? Close to 6? It's hard to know too, because we have so many different documents that had like different numbers on them.
Right.
the overage that's on the signed document says it's $2,802,613.32. Where it says the tenant improvement allowance was $3,532,177.19. So then a total tenant improvement of 6.3 million approximately.
6.3. Okay.
And and balance at the beginning of the year, $4 million on that, on the amortization schedule, on the overage amortization, which is two separate schedules attached to the TI work done on the property.
So really, I mean, I don't even know if a decision necessarily needs to be made today, except for maybe authorizing Christine, Dustin, and I to start negotiating potential lease, not forgiveness, but lease changes for the rent for the next couple of months to try to free up some money. Unless like Dustin gave the option, like there is an option with some ramifications of just walking away from the lease itself, right? So if the board was feeling like walking away was the best option, then that would also potentially be in this. But this is Christine, Dustin, and I have had a little bit more time to kind of sit down with this. So I know that this is a lot.
Well, just given the amount alone, I mean, I think I would be more inclined to vote that between you, Christine, and Dustin, do the best, that you guys can, with the meeting tomorrow and moving forward with this. And if you feel like the best option is to walk away, I mean, that's a big number that we shouldn't get stuck with paying that we didn't approve of. And these are not open-ended contracts. It,
Dustin, walking away puts us in a different kind of situation, right? Where our credit could be, credibility could be a factor. Isn't that true too?
Yeah, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to ever lease another property or have another bond deal done if you don't honor, your commitments here. What's different about it than versus, just not honoring your commitments is that the actual amount in the lease of tenant improvements was 2,288,50. So that's where Clara was talking about how there's the different numbers and how we got to the other number on the document that has Clara's for signature on it. I'm not sure. And so the argument would be that, well, it's not that you're not willing to honor the lease, but you're not willing to honor the additional tenant improvement dollars that were put on it. And so that, maybe you're willing to pay the original lease amount, but you're not willing to pay the increased lease amount. But either way, it really complicates your ability to get another lease. And so if it's something that you think you want in the long term, or even, in just like the next 2 to 3 years, finding a way to make it work is going to be in your best interest, because going out and finding a new facility and new financing and everything in the next 2 to 3 years, or 5 to 10 years, if you walk away from this, is going to be really hard. I see Tony's hand.
If I could just mention something else too, I mean, I'm urging the board to not walk away from it and to try to negotiate, just because I know that, I mean, to keep our school going, I know that there would be a lot of elementary parents, because that's one of the things we heard when we were all together at Telshore, that would not, they would not want their kids, even though there's different buildings at Telshore. Um, it was a big deal. And so, um, we could lose, we could lose half of our kids. I don't even know how many, but of the elementary, especially, just because of the fact that, this is the first year of the elementary. And if that happens, that was a big deal for a lot of people. Even though the kids are separate, we try to keep them separate, there would have to be some room sharing and kids walking around and everybody together, K-12. And I'm not saying other schools don't do that, but I just know in our community it was a big deal. So just wanted to throw that out there. It could be a detriment to our entire school. But I know that we'd have to negotiate something, because obviously the dollars aren't working out. Thank you.
Do we even need a motion to authorize Christine, Dustin, and I? Dustin, do you think that we need a motion to authorize that? Probably just good practice to start that negotiation. I mean, not that we've kind of already started it, but I just wanted to.
I'll make the motion to have,
Oh, hold on, Gabby. I think Dustin was going to answer whether we need it or not.
I guess it would be very helpful to know if the board is wanting to walk away or to negotiate. And so a motion to negotiate would be helpful in direction for us. And then I think, if we can get this resolved by your special meeting, then maybe, we would actually have a vote on finalizing something.
Sure.
But, and you don't need to approve anything in particular right now, just a motion to say go one direction or the other would be great.
I will make the motion to allow
Negotiations.
Yeah, for the negotiations.
I second that.
If we could do a roll call, please.
Clararelli,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Tahi, yes. Motion passes unanimously.
Perfect. Okay. I think that that was all for the Del Rey. Thank you, Dustin, for joining us.
All right. Thank you all.
Yep. And next up, we have the calendars with Dr. Tony Hull.
Hi, everybody. Okay, let's talk about calendars. Am I gonna share, Karen, or what do you think? Or can you share
Yes.
for me? I guess
Um,
I don't know. I'm trying to, I have two screens here, so I'm just trying to be able to see, and I have a little presentation. It's
I can
actually
share,
the,
but I don't know. What do you want me to share?
oh, I could share that. The second part, the presentation part. The first part was just kind of informational. It has the two calendars. But the second link, I've lost my, okay. So the recommendation of calendar, yeah. The draft calendars, that's just for everyone's, they can check that out. But it's in my presentation, so if we can go there, that'd be great.
So again, you want me to share or you're going to share?
Let me try to share. Let me try. Let's see.
I'm happy to. I just wasn't clear.
Yes, please. Can you share number two? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, because then I can look over here and I don't know, it's just easier.
I can do that. Let's go to this window.
And I'm gonna turn the light on.
And then not that. And then
Okay, so you guys can see me now. All right. Okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you. So
just
members,
can you just say next slide when you're ready for next slide?
yes, and there's not many. So, so welcome, everybody. I know that there's a lot of teachers, staff, parents. Welcome, welcome. We had a town hall the other night. It was actually Monday about the calendar. So I want to just publicly thank everybody for being there, staff, families. It was really great. People were online, people were present in the room. So that's great. So why is there a need? So why are we changing things? Everyone wonders that. And it's interesting because NMPED puts out a funding formula each year. And so a lot of times, they don't do it as quickly as we want them to do it. But it usually is in April, and that's why the calendar is usually approved in May. Now, as a charter school, there's something called the K-12 multiplier, and I know that Josh is here and he'll be able to come on and talk a little bit more when we talk about the budget situation as well. But I'm going to explain it in the way I understand it. So the K-12 plus multiplier is a multiplier. It started off a few years back, like as a summer thing, but now it is a multiplier. So so each of the grade bands, like first grade gets a certain multiplier, second grade, third grade, and all that. And then special education, bilingual, gifted, all of these things go into the funding formula. So the K-12 plus multiplier is to encourage schools to add additional days. It's for days above and beyond. So this year, PED has changed from the 180-day requirement to the hours. And so, I mean, I value, parents have been so great emailing me and all that about, figuring out the numbers, and it's fun to an extent. And then after a while, you're kind of like exhausted. But now it's an hourly thing. But to get the K-12 plus multiplier, you have to go to a certain number of days. So you have to have hours and days. So you have to go above and beyond. So it's above and beyond 180 days and above and beyond 150 days for 4 days a week. So you can't just have hours. Now, if you are a large school district, a lot of large school districts maybe don't need the K-12 plus multiplier. But as we've just been talking about budget, we need the K-12 plus multiplier. We want the biggest multiplier we can get, right? And so to do that, we can't keep our current calendar. And I mean, we started late, ending late. Some people like it, some people want to stay the same. That's really not an option to keep our programming the way it is right now. Like if we had our current calendar, we'd have to then riff some people. And nobody wants to do that. Our staff are that's what our program is based on, having our individualized instruction for kids where they have smaller classes and they have more attention and all that. So, what are the options? The 4-day week, we need 1140 hours and 175 days minimum. And for the 5-day week, we need 1140 hours, which again is the statewide minimum of hours. But to get the K-12 plus, we need the 205. So let's go to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit about that. The pros and the cons. This slide, get ready. It's a lot of information. Karen, whenever you're ready. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. Don't click again yet, because otherwise it's brain overload. So so the 4-day week, this is just some facts. There's no opinions here. This is just the facts. And so 20-day term, we currently have a 22-day term. Because remember, we chunk it out. That's our model. We chunk out the standards so that kids digest them more easily and learn them more deeply. So 20-day term. Then, so that was what it would look like at Delray, July 22nd to June 4th, and so on. You can read this. One term break day. So we heard you. We have done surveys. Guys, I've done multiple surveys. Probably parents are like, don't survey us anymore. But I've done multiple surveys, emails, the town hall, things like that. And so I heard you. We want not 2 term break. We would rather have 1, most people. And so teachers need at least 1. And that's tough. That's a quick turnaround in our model when we're doing flavor and choice. Teachers have to get ready. They have to get the grades done, make up any core exams that need to be made up, and then go and turn it around to the flavor for the next term. They can do it, but it's a lot. So, but we did hear you on that one. That was kind of overwhelming how many people wanted that. So, you can see winter break, spring break is the same as Las Cruces Public Schools and NMSU. So we heard you on that one too. Winter break, there it is. We heard you on that. 2 synchronous days. They got rid of the asynchronous. There's no more. Just get online. We'll see you Monday kind of deal. So it's 2 synchronous, which means every class period has to meet a minimum of 20 minutes, which would not be very long. It's like, we'd be done around 10 o'clock in the morning. So you'd still have the whole day. But 2 synchronous days with a 4-day week, an additional 30 minutes. Because if you're going less days, you need more time to get to the hours that you need. Very different from LCPS. We have heard, now we know we're a charter. We know that we are unique. But we also heard that we know that we have families that have kids at LCPS and Explore. Great. So it was overwhelming that we want to be a little bit closer to their schedule. This is very different. No additional staff would be able to fill current vacated positions. So with this budget, you're going to see that when you see the budget. And this is just an approximate of the time period in the day, what it could look like. Currently, we go 8 to 3 at Delray, the secondary, and we go 7:45 to 3:15 at Telshore Elementary. And then no half days because there's no extra day to have the half a day. So right now we have Friday half days. So go ahead and click, and we'll take a look at the 5-day week. And it'll fly in when you click right under the drive. There we go. Okay. So on the 5-day week, 23, 24-day terms. And I think Ms. Black talked a little bit about this in the beginning with public comment. That's great. I mean, that gives our kids, especially at the high school and at elementary, but at the high school, to really digest those standards when they change every term, where elementary they don't change every term. That's what it would look like. A more reasonable starting time for many families, July 28th, July 30th, right? Still goes to June, but you kind of have to with our model with term break days and with the number of days that we need. Again, we have the 1 term break day, winter break, same thing. We'd have an extra synchronous day. And that's actually Good Friday, because I just feel we've heard from families that's very important. And so again, it would be like in the morning, kids would log into their classes and check their assignments and get all that done. But then they'd be done. 20 minutes a period. And then 30 minutes less. Let me just share a little bit about this. 30 minutes less because we actually go way above our hours right now. And so by reducing that time, we can reduce it and still fit the hours if we do the 205 days, okay? And it's really not 205 kids days. It's 205 total instructional hours, which instructional days, sorry, which the PED allows us to use some of those as PD and some of those term break days to count as instructional days. So really it's about 198 in elementary days. And, well, if you include the term break days. If you take those out, it's even less, -8. 190, you know? So that's what I'm saying is they count as instructional days, but kids don't always have to come to the term break days if you don't have to make anything up or if we're not having an activity, which we hope to have next year. Very similar to LCS, we would be able to fill our current vacated positions, and anything above 715, you'll find out is great because that would be above what we need to get to reach our budget. And then students there, that's what it kind of looks like there. So we'd still have the Friday half days. People asked about that. They love it. We'd still do that. It's just a little 15-minute shift. Well, actually half an hour shift overall, but 15 minutes for the for us for some of the Fridays. But you can see it's a half hour less for the day, right? 8 to 2:30. So with all that being said, and I know it's a lot, go to the next slide, and I want to share what I recommend. Oh, and I know this is really small, so this is why I put the link. So if you want to check it out on the agenda, it would be much better than looking at this because that's really tiny. But it just mainly people like to look at the beginning and the end, I think, is the most critical pieces that people like. Again, spring break is the same, winter break. Okay. So go to the last slide, and I want to share my recommendation with the feedback. Okay. So the survey was split. Like it's 50, the latest check was 5149. So after the town hall, the parents asked to do another survey. So I did. As of, like about before we started this meeting, it was 51% for the 4-day, 49% for the 5-day. But like I said, some families prefer. It's just one of those things that's like a preference. Some didn't care. They were like, thanks for the input. We don't really either one. But this is where I feel like as a head admin, I really am listening, is that 75% of the comments advocate for the 5-day. So people wrote me emails saying, please, please, please keep 5 days. And they put it in the comments of the survey. So out of all the survey comments, which we had over 48 people making comments on the survey, 36 of them were for the 5-day. And why? And they were explaining why. And there was some great ideas in there, how we can take a Friday and do additional programming for college career. Kids can do work study, like where they go and do an internship that could count as an attendance day. Yes, it can on a Friday. It doesn't mean just because we don't have Fridays off, they can't work. They can do those internships. They can go visit a college. They can, as long as we have accountability that we know that they are doing those things, and we would have contacts, and we've done that in Hatch, and I've seen it done before. So it's not like we can't do that. There's things that we can do and still be our creative, amazing selves with a 5-day. And by the way, guys, I know I hear we say go to a 5-day. We are on a 5-day. Like we have 5 days. It's not changing to a 5-day. It's just we have to reach the 205 threshold to get the multiplier. And then that's some things that I said before about the term break days. So this is my recommendation. And again, many discussions, phone calls, surveys, parents coming in, talking to me. I mean, budget meetings, because I have to take that into consideration. I mean, that's how we run our school. We've just talked a lot about money today, actually. My recommendation is that we remain on a 5-day calendar. And I know everyone would love a Friday off. That'd be cool. But I have to look at what's best for our families. And I want to just share some interesting information. So 1 in 5 kids in New Mexico is food insecure. And so I know we talked about that with Alexis, Miss Black. We have 25 kids that are designated homeless. That's 5% of our kids. Just something to think about. Also, when we have a day off on a Friday, and we were gonna plan on doing with the 4-day additional programming. Without transportation, some kids won't be able to access those programs. So we can do additional programming on that 5th day as instructional programming that kids need. We call it win time. What I need time. Do you need math tutoring? Guess what? Friday's your day. Do you need to go and get a job and do a work study? That's your day. What do you need? It could be one of those days. It could be SEL where kids need that. We need to talk to kids about how do you resolve conflicts? We talk about grasp all the time, gratitude, relationships, attitude, scholarship, purpose. We can hone in on those skills and teach those skills, teach those executive skills. How do you do an interview? Where do we put that in the schedule? That'd be great if we did it on a Friday. Also, if parents did have to take their kids to an appointment or at least they wouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, 20 days, I can't. You can. I mean, if you have to, we'd have appointments and things like that. Also, our poverty rate in Las Cruces is 21.99%. That's the last I found. It's really important that we serve our community and not we can't always compare ourselves to Albuquerque or Santa Fe or wherever because we are different and we do have to serve the needs of our community. And we do need to fill those current vacant positions. Otherwise, what happens? Class sizes go up. If I can't fill those positions, class sizes go up. Again, our model is smaller class. Now they'd still be small. 20, 25 even is smaller than we see in a traditional. And also this is a big one too. If we shorten that length of day, say we end at 2:30 for secondary or 2:15 for elementary, we can offer that after school programming and families can get home at a time and teachers can be more apt to do after school because they can get home at a time 4 o'clock where then you can go home and have time with your family instead of I got to stay till 5, so I'm not going to do after school because it's too much. We can offer those things. We already have things lined up like kids can for the elementary and secondary. We already are having those conversations with what can we do after school. I know teachers would want to do more if it wasn't going till 5 o'clock because that's pretty late, especially and kids. Another thing parents wrote in the comments was the 5-day with a shorter time would allow them to go to a sport. I mean, we don't offer this amount of sports. We had one sport last year, the volleyball. But if a kid wants to play for their zone school, at a public charter schools the kids allowed to go and play for Cruces High. And they could get to there after school and play on the team. So those are just something, and middle school up to 8th grade. So that would shorten the day, but give those opportunities and families, you know what? Stay for an after school program, kiddo, and I'll come get you at 3:30 or 4 o'clock, And I think that, and then you're still home at a time when you can be with your family and do those things. So that's my recommendation to the board is that we move to this 205. And I hate calling it that because really it's a 5-day. We're not moving to 5-day. We are on 5-day. It's just that we have to go a few additional days, but we start later. Teachers really don't want to start on July 21st. And then parents don't. And you lose 1 week, 1 extra week of summer. So it's not like it's a lot of summer. With the 4-day versus the 5, it's 1 week, guys. Not even. It's 1 week. Instead of starting on a Tuesday, you start the next Monday. Yeah. So those are the things, guys, and it's a hard decision because I want to please everybody. I want everyone to be happy and love it. And I just know that this best fits our needs for our model. So teachers are feeling less stressed about getting that in at 20 days. And we can do those more extensive things after school. We can do those things on Friday and not feel like we can't do it on Friday because we can't do an assembly because that's an instructional day. We need to use it. Well, it's an instructional day, but the teachers need it for the standards. But you know what? If we had 22, 3, and 24 days, we could use a Friday and do an assembly and have a great guest speaker for the kids to motivate and inspire. Right now, I really don't like to take that time away from their classes. And so I think there's a lot of creative things we can do. And now I'll stand for questions. Thank you, board.
Amazing job, Tony. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. Does anybody else have any questions?
I guess I do. Great presentation, a lot of great information. Thank you, Dr. Hall. We did I guess you did a parent poll, and then the voices were heard. How about, I'm curious to hear from the kids. Did you get any feedback from them at all?
No, but my professional inkling is that they would love to have 4 days. So I think it would go that way. I don't think any kid would say they want to be in school every for 5 days, but I didn't. So that's a good point. I did not ask the students, but I kind of just assumed that they would say I want Fridays off. So that's a good point. You bring up a good point.
You can still do half days on Fridays, can't you?
Yeah,
Isn't that what
yeah.
you
It would
do?
still be the 205, but every Friday would be that still our half day. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you also have to think about parents that work. If you have both parents that are working, who's going to be taking care of the kids if they're off on a Friday?
Right. That was a big comment from the
That
parents.
that's
And
going to be more expense for them, especially, for daycare or something like that.
well, we were
And
gonna offer an elementary, like little, not daycare, but like elementary programming. But actually, I had some parents say, like, I have a 10th grader and I want them to go. And I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, they want them to keep learning. I think a parent shared earlier, they want all their kids, regardless of the grade, to keep doing learning activities. But again, those Fridays can be really creative. They could be STEAM activities, these art and technology kind of activities where it's an additional icing on the cake to our model that already incorporates all those electives into the model. But how do we really then extend it? Let that be an enrichment. Let that be also tutoring. Maybe someone needs an extra dose of math or science, or, maybe they need help with their flavor assessment. And then we could have the teachers and kids can sign up and say, I need help with science. My project needs help, and that could be and how different would that be for teachers? That's one extra day that, they're not planning, they're helping. They're being the facilitator of, what do you need? And that kind of thing. And it would help with our career college development with those skills. And so, but that's a great point. A lot of parents, it was the childcare, they work and they have to work. We understand that. And so how can we help in that?
And also, Dr. Hall, you did bring up a good point about the extra week difference. And then with the 205, we'd be able to fill current vacant positions. So I think that one's a really big one.
Yeah, the way the formula works out, and I know Josh can talk more about that, but it does make a considerable difference between the two. And so, and we know the value of having more staff rather than less. And so, yeah. I don't know if Josh wanted to talk a little bit about the numbers and the SEG difference. I defer to him.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, as Tony said, there is a considerable difference. If you want to hear about the numbers, really, I compared it from last year's calendar and what that would look like. So it's around $8.4 million that the school would receive if we kept the same calendar as we then roll it over to next year. The 4-week calendar at 175 days and maxing out the 1140 hours would be an additional $299,000 to the school. And that's the 4-day maxing it out. But the 5-day, 205, 5-day a week and 205 days for the year, maxing out again at 1140 would be an incredible difference of around $625,000 roughly from keeping the same calendar as last year. And the difference between the 4-day and the 5 days, $325,000. So that is a massive amount of money to help the school. keep all of its teachers, cover any staffing that it needs to operate successfully this year, and then also as well as cover some back pay that we all kind of mentioned a little bit earlier with Dustin. So that's where our head's at, and just speaking on the numbers, that was quite a bit. But I can answer any questions regarding the unit values, percentages, things like that if you all are curious.
I mean, y'all know that both Christine and I love CTE. So, and in my role, I think that's the biggest thing is those. I think that there's a really, if we do the 205, like trusting that our leaders, our leadership at the school, that our instructional coaches, et cetera, our teachers even, will start to look at those additional 8 days in a really creative way to provide additional opportunities, right? We are considered kind of a college preparatory school, right? That's kind of the thought process, but not everybody goes to college. And not everybody should go to college. I mean, I'm an educator that says that, okay? I do not think that everybody should go to college. I think that there are other opportunities, and by having, you know, a more flexible day, especially for our juniors and seniors, where they're potentially able to get apprenticeships and internships and be able to go into the workforce, you know, right when they graduate. I mean, getting certificates, doing more dual credit opportunities. I mean, ultimately, like those types of opportunities open up so many doors for students. I think it would be, you know, and coming from Colorado, okay, like everybody, almost all of the schools around me do 4-day schools. And I think they do. The only reason why I don't think that they totally miss out on the career connected learning and work-based learning opportunities is because our region is very, the only reason is because our region is very focused on that. And so they started doing like Friday academies, like the community colleges started doing these Friday academies to fill in the space. Why would we need a community college to fill in the space when we could do it? That's kind of my thought process there, right? If we can do it and be intentional about those additional instructional days, and again, really bringing in some of that from that career connected work-based learning, which has been shown to be not just exponentially beneficial for, you know, career readiness, but also has been shown to increase graduation rates, increase attendance rates. I mean, like work-based career connected learning is so huge. And I think that it would be a disservice to our students to not give them those opportunities. So anyways, that was a comment, not a question, and definitely not a motion at that point. But any other questions, discussions, or do we have a motion at this point for which calendar we're going to choose for the sorry. For the, what school year is next school year? The 25-26 school year. There we go.
I would like to make a motion to approve the 205 day calendar.
And I
second.
I second that motion.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Rhea Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Brown,
Yes.
Linnell Pahi, yes.
Oh, Dr.
Motion.
Hall, you got your 5-day calendar.
There you
Thank
go.
You,
There
on
you
behalf
go.
of everybody, appreciate it very
Well,
much.
you,
We are
yeah,
going to use these days. They're
well,
gonna
you
be
did a good job convincing everyone by doing the surveys. And then I think early on I asked, what is the curricular difference? And you really shined on that today, because I'm all about activity-based learning. And I think you made a good point about how the kids get the standards more deeply, and it's not rushed. And so I totally agree with that kind of thinking.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is the salary schedules for school year 26.
Is that Josh or is that me?
I believe that is Josh. Yes.
Okay, great.
Let me pull those up for everybody.
No, that's fine. Do you have all the options, or was this kind of the final option that we were hoping to go with, right?
This was the final option that we were hoping to go with.
Perfect.
It just coincides with the mandate by the state to have a required 4% raise for everybody that's returning in their support. Let me share my screen. Okay, everyone see my screen? No, it's a little bit tough to see here. So the state this year has mandated that all level one teachers are set at $55,000 starting. Level two teachers are set at $65,000 starting salary, and level three teachers are set at $75,000 starting. So we base this schedule based off of that mandate, with every step along the way going up $100. So not every starting salary is the same. After that, it's a 4% raise from last year's salary schedule. So anybody that continues with the school will see their step increase by 4% in the upcoming year, and we'll follow this mandate until next year, when we're forced to change this salary schedule again, because the state wants to give, some odd reason to give 2.5%, or whatever the case may be. So this will be the schedule for the year, with that in mind, and the teachers will be able to view where they're going, where they are next year and the years after, based off of the 4% raise from the past salary schedule. But I'm free to take any questions if you have any questions regarding the teacher salary schedule. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the EA's salary schedule. The minimum was already met last year by the school, and that's $25,000 for an EA that's starting. You can see that's higher for the school. So we kept that beginning year balance, but moved up 4% and every step afterwards in using last year's schedule, again, to meet that requirement of everybody returning to the school gets that 4% raise. And that's continuing on with exactly what the teacher's salary schedule looks like. So the EAs will be able to see what next year and the year after they'll be making, depending on their level. And yeah, those are the only salary schedules that we have to present and approve.
Do we have any questions, comments, or a motion to approve?
I don't have any questions, but I'll make the motion to approve the salary schedules for teachers and EAs as presented.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Tahi, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Josh, for that. And you're still on the floor. So we're moving right into finance now that we've made some of those decisions. Now we can actually look at finances because we've made the decisions that affect our finances. So perfect.
Yes, we have a path now. Good deal. Okay, let me share my other screen. Okay. As we do in every monthly meeting, we share the check register for the previous month. This is April's check register. The bigger expenses, of course, like every month, being rent, her coaches, NIPSIA, insurance, the food services for for the school, and retirement payments attached to salaries, and of course payroll being our biggest expense. The grand total of last month's check run was $912,000 roughly. And nothing really out of the ordinary as far as expenses are concerned. A lot writing just on operational expenses for the school to run. Any questions about the check register? Okay, move on to the bank reconciliation. You can see the school had a balance of $218,000 at the beginning of April. We had receipts of $760,000 and disbursements of $769,000, which left us with a balance of $209,000 at the end of the month. As far as activity is concerned, we spent around $9,000 in the red, so we spent more than we received for that month. That's why there's a red negative there. We had one void of $432,000 and some outstanding payments that just didn't hit the bank account in April of roughly $153,000. We do have a difference in our expected GL and our general ledger of $1,654.47. And it's because we had some JEs that we needed to move out of a fund into our operational fund, which I'll show you in our next slide. But are there any questions regarding the April 2025 bank reconciliation? Nope. Okay, move on to the JEs that I was talking about. We moved some funds attached to salaries that were hitting Title I, that's 24101 here, and then Title IV, which is 24189. So these funds are attached to salaries. When we run payroll, we attach them to the fund in which they're paid out of, and if they go over a certain amount that the fund isn't can't pay, or it goes over that amount that the school has been awarded, we JE those expenses into our operating fund, which is 11,000. So we went over in the amount that the school was awarded. So we had to JE $1,600 into operating. Any questions regarding the journal entries for April? Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the the financial reports as presented? Sorry.
I will make a motion to accept the financial reports as they've been presented to us.
A second.
Roll call vote, please.
Claire Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Paggy, yes.
And looks like Lisa is up to discuss the BUF for CTE funds for an award that the school received this year. I can discuss it though.
She's here. She's
He's
here.
here.
Oh, she is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
All
just
right,
taking
Lisa,
me a
sorry.
little bit to get into the meeting, but Karen or Josh, do you mind sharing your screen? Josh, I know you'll probably be sharing it next. If you just want to share that budget update form, that would be great.
I have it up. Yep.
All right. Good evening, Chair Rayleigh, Chair Reyes, and members of the board. I'm Lisa Hughes. I'm currently the Director of Grants who's been supporting with the CTE grant this year. And in conjunction with Dr. Tony Hall, we had to make some shifts in our CTE programming this year just to make everything work and to fall where it needed to be. You will recall in March, we came to you with an original BUF, which is a budget update form, because we had some changes in the staff that was represented on the CTE grant. And so we had some extra money. We did allocate that for some supplies and for some of our travel for our students to attend the state CTSO conference. They did do really well at state and it was a great experience for them. But I'm here tonight because we did have $12,000 in that budget on that BUF set aside in case they made it to nationals, which, you know, we were hoping that they were. Unfortunately, they did not make it to nationals. So we did not want the school to lose that $12,000. So we had to do a budget update form again so that we could reallocate that money into more supplies and stipends for our CTE advisors. Had we not done a budget update form, we would have lost that money, and we know how important it is to fund these great opportunities for our students. So in connection with Dr. Tony Hall, we talked about what supplies were kind of still needed to support programs at our school. And so we did write this budget update form to reallocate the money for a Promethean board, some additional iPads for the school, some additional iPad pencils to go with that, charging stations for the Apple iPads, a locking cabinet for the Apple iPads to ensure that we can safely keep them locked up, and then stipends for our 2 CTE advisors. That takes care of the $12,000 that was originally scheduled for nationals. This was approved by PED, and now we are just here to present it to you for approval, which Josh also has a bar for. And I will stand for any questions.
I motion to approve.
I will second that motion.
Linnell, if you could do a roll call, thank you.
Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Hockey, yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to send you back in cyberspace.
Thank you, everyone.
And now we have a whole list of bars, Josh.
Yay. Yes, we do have a whole list of bars. This one being the scariest, but we were aware that the school was going to have a decrease in SEG when we knew the 40th day number. So it was built into our projections. We just couldn't make this bar until we received something from PED, an award decrease kind of letter stating that, you know, now is the time to make this bar. So we saw a decrease of around $1.5 million. And so we decreased mostly salary expenses, other contracted services, general supplies and materials. And this is just so we have budget authority and we don't get an audit finding for saying that, you know, we're going to have a lot more revenue and a lot more expenses than we actually are for the year. Any questions regarding this decrease bar for SEG? Nope.
Like
Okay,
you said,
I'll move
it's
on
just
to
sad. I would just move on. We don't want to see it anymore.
what could have been. Okay, so this is a maintenance bar for spaceport funding that the school received last year. It was earmarked for some materials, but we thought it would be appropriate to move it to help with some salaries and help with some expenses on the salary side of things. We do expect some money to come in by the end of the year, hopefully around the same amount to hopefully do the same thing and help with some salary expenses. So removing the bar from general supplies and materials to help out with the STEM teacher on staff and their salary. Okay, next we'll move on to a bar increase. This is for operational food services. So this is a bar, so we have budget authority at the end of the year when we see some more revenue than anticipated from the beginning of the year, and we'll match that with expenses, in particular food services. Okay. Same thing here. So this will match the expense, the rise expense for lease that we kind of talked about much earlier in this board meeting. So this is to help us have budget authority by the end of the year, so we don't get an audit finding for saying that we weren't going to have as big as expenses we found out that we would at the end of the year. And another bar increase here in food services, just by a little bit, $41 to have budget authority by the end of the year. And again, so there's a difference between these two funds only by a little bit. We had $756 that we needed to appropriately code to have budget authority by the end of the year as well in food services. And again, to have budget authority in food services, a big increase of around $150,000 to have budget authority and not at the end of the year. This in particular is involved in the food aspect, while the other two are software. Okay, so this is the bar that is associated with the buff that Lisa presented, where we had to move some money around to make sure that we complied with the CTE grant and how it is written. Pretty strict on how they allow us to use this money. So we moved some money out of professional development, other charges, and lowered student travel. And we added some stipends for some teachers involved with the program, and some fees associated with how the program is run, as well as some supply assets for Apple iPads, charging stations, and Apple chargers as well. Okay, and lastly, I think is a final award. So the school received an uptick in teacher principal training and recruiting fund of 31,718. So we upped the award that was preliminary at the beginning of the year and moved that to cover salaries for a teacher associated with the fund. Oh, and I lied. So we have one more bar. This one is for the Skills USA New Mexico grant that the school was awarded back in March. We had to bar this in order for us to get our reimbursements, which is due in a couple of days. So this has to do with some traveling for the students to go and attend of course, and then also to cover the expenses of the teacher in which that's taking them to go use this grant. So it's $4,500, and yeah, just a direct increase of our private direct grants because they didn't have their own fund for the Skills USA New Mexico grant. And that's it. Any questions regarding the bars, reasoning behind them? We're going to be seeing a lot more of these now that the school year is about to end, just so we have budget authority over some excess expenses if we need to, or we need to just move money around so we don't get an audit finding. So I think it's on the agenda is we'll probably have to allow a board member to approve these bars after this May meeting, just so we don't have to call a special board meeting for all of you to be on. We'll have a liaison kind of representing the board to approve or disapprove any bars that we might see fit to close the year out.
Josh, do you remember who we appointed last year? Was it a board member?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it was. I wasn't around then.
We're yeah.
Sorry.
No, Karen, if you could check, that would be great. I can't remember who we designated, so I was just wanting to verify. I mean, we can get to that. We're almost there because we need to approve the bars. But Christine, since you're already kind of serving in that like financial realm, like that might be a an easy quote unquote easy transition, but we can get to there first. Any questions about the bars or a motion to approve bars 25 through 33 and 35?
We'll make a motion to approve the bars 25 to 33 and 35.
I will second that motion. We'll take a vote.
Yes, please.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Linnell Tahi, yes.
Perfect. And Christine, if you're willing to serve in that capacity, it's essentially just approving these bars on behalf of the board for the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
Josh sends me reminders.
Yeah. Yes.
Bailey, it was last year you designated the head administrator and the school business official. It does seem more appropriate. Most schools do a board member or a board member and the head administrator, something like that. But last year you did do a head administrator and school business official to approve them.
Yeah, I think we
school
were.
Business official is the best option.
Agreed. I would like to motion then to designate Co-Chair Reyes as the designee for approval of bars. We have a second.
I will second that motion.
We'll take a vote.
Yes, please.
Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
I guess so, yes.
Gabriella Graham, Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Tahi, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. We'll be
And
in
we are
touch.
well. We have
wait,
one more.
yes, the forecasted.
Wait.
Josh, you're not free yet. You're not free.
Thanks for sticking around.
The main thing, one that we all came to see.
Yeah, right.
The 2020,
Exactly.
the 2026 budget. So I'll go over some of the changes that occurred from the past year to this year. One being the enrollments, which we anticipate to go up to 715. So that's a 19% difference for this upcoming year. The at-risk multiplier, which has since changed from last year, and that's a negative 29% difference there. So that does affect the funding that the school receives. Unfortunately, it's attached to the school itself, where last year it was attached to the district that the school was in. So unfortunately, it docks the school a couple of unit values, which are pretty important. It's around roughly $100,000 to $200,000 that the school would have received it, but kept its at-risk multiplier. So again, just a thing that the state is doing this year that they changed from last year. The one thing that the state did have this year that helped the school was English language learners. It had a unit value uptick in that, which gave the school around $98,000 this year. Still doesn't quite cover the cost of the at-risk, but it did help. The calendar, as we all know, moving to 205 days. And that's an uptick of around 4% there with the K-12 plus value of $502,000 more than it was last year. So that's an uptick of 57%. The unit value only raised 3.7%. I'll get to the salaries here in a bit, but as we did mention with the salary schedules, that was a mandated 4% raise there. So the uptick in unit value doesn't exactly cover the expenses of the mandate of salaries rising, as well as the minimum amount for teachers having to be 55, 65, 75. Overall, the funding went up 19% from $7.5 million to $9 million, a difference of $1.4 million. And yeah, so here I touched on it a little bit. The mandatory minimums went up by $5,000 for each level, 1, 2, and 3. Mandatory salary increase of 4%, where last year was a mandatory increase of 3%. And health insurance went up 6%, and it did go up 6% last year as well. So we're seeing a trend there. Risk insurance went up 82% for the school. Obviously, with the second building, we anticipated it to go up a little bit, and then rents went up $778,000 from what we expected it to end last year. Revenue, we kept kind of the local revenue the same as last year to be on the conservative side of things. SEG, as we mentioned, $9 million. Some other flow-through grants that flow through the state. Transportation distribution, this is set by the state at during this time, but this could fluctuate depending on buses that the school might receive this upcoming year. ESCOC award, so this is lease assistance, and it's based off like $115 times the amount of students the school had in FY25. So it's always like a year behind essentially. So we're anticipating to get some lease assistance of around $448,000. And this intergovernmental contract revenue grant here is for EAs. It's the EA grant to help with funding salaries, as well as teachers who look after those EAs. Here, federal resources are all preliminary awards other than IDEA. The state hasn't come out with that number quite yet, or the award that the school will receive. These usually do fluctuate throughout the year, but these are the preliminary awards thus far for the school. All in all, we anticipate the revenue to be roughly around $11.5 million for the upcoming year. Any questions regarding the revenue of the school? No. Okay. Staffing. So in the staffing model, all teachers will be returning, all staff will be returning, with the addition of a couple of staff members, in particular teachers and instructional coach, and the full amount of salary will be roughly around $4.5 million. Benefits changed quite a bit from last year, again, with the raise of health and medical premiums of 6%. We took into consideration that, and the amount of benefits that we anticipate the school to have with the same salary structure as the last slide is $1.7 million roughly. Other expenses, professional and technical services, purchase property services. We have other charges here, which is essentially the property taxes that the school has to pay. We're hoping to get those waived this year, so cross your fingers. Hopefully that would save the school some money. But right now we anticipate those to be an expense item. The big large items here are again lease for the two buildings, and then the kind of loan payment that the school signed on to in this past fall for property to help with the new building. Those loan payments kind of balloon up this year and then continue on for the next couple of years. So that's the $230,000 payment for this upcoming year, and that's probably our biggest expense item for this school. Transportation contractors, again, this is based off of last year's actuals. This is kind of up in the air until we settle our contract with Herrera Buses, but we know what our revenue is going to be for the upcoming year. Food will be matching our USDA federal and state revenue. General supplies and supply assets match that of the a specific amount for each student and new student that will be coming in the fall. This is what the multi-year model will look like for the school. We know that we'll have a deficit at the beginning of the year. We're anticipating around $250,000. With operating income, we'll believe that we'll be able to get back on our feet this upcoming year with a little bit of excess, as well as meet our bond covenant. So I don't want this like $22,000 to scare anybody. It's really the it's really the $228,000 with the $22,000 that will be the ending fund balance for this school. And then we move that over to the next year, where we'll hopefully be back on our feet and then continue to grow with a positive fund balance and thereon after the preceding years. What we need from you all is budget approval of the operational budget based on 715 students. We did conservatively budget this upcoming year with the known expenses that we know of, as well as some additional projects that the school may have. And we also need to get approval of the title funds, the federal funds. Title I, it'll be used for instructional assistance. Title II, an instructional coach. Title III, some supplies and materials. Title IV, additional tutoring and salaries associated with that. IDEA, which again, we're waiting on that preliminary award, but we still need to have that budget approved, just a state mandate. And yeah, so those are the main funds that we'll need approval from you all. As soon as we receive that, I will send out a 901B10 via box sign for you all to sign, saying that you approve the budget, and then we will be able to submit all the necessary documentation to make the state happy. So we'll see if they ever are. But yeah, that is the budget. If you all have any questions, concerns, comments about any of the line items, what our thinking was in this process, please don't hesitate to ask.
Karen, you have your hand up. Sorry, I couldn't unmute. My mouse decided to stop working, so I was trying to unmute myself.
I understand that during Dr. Hall's presentation, I couldn't get my mouse to go where I wanted it to click the slide. So I get it. I just wanted to point out that at the April meeting, this board did approve the federal grant applications after a presentation by Lisa Hughes. I'm not sure if I don't think any of well, Lisa's here. If you would like to bring her forward, I don't know if you actually need another approval for the federal grant applications, which are Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, IDA. You did approve the purposes at the April meeting. And as I said, Director Hughes is in the audience if you want to revisit that, or if you just want to reapprove. I just don't want you to contradict something and anyway, you already approved that.
Okay. Then we'll just need the operational budget to be approved by you all.
I mean, I guess maybe you want Lisa to confirm if these are the same purposes, but
yeah, if she's here, I wouldn't mind verifying alignment.
I'm going to try to promote her to the panel. If she doesn't accept, she is still in the
No
audience,
worries.
so.
If anything, we can just approve the operational budget, and then if we need to approve any of these other ones, we can add that to the special board meeting.
Well, I just pulled up. See if she's coming maybe, but I just pulled up from the presentation she gave. So IDAB, she said special education teacher salaries. That's the same. Well, Lisa's here. Hey, Lisa, I'm just trying to compare. You brought these federal. I don't know if you've been listening, but the federal grants you brought in April, and this board approved them. Josh is asking for approval of his budget, but also those titles grants, and I just want to be sure that it's matching what you submitted as the application. So that's what I was
Give me
working on.
1 second to
Title
pull all of
I.
that up.
I'm
So
doing that too.
that's okay. So yes, they are the same as what we presented to you earlier. They have been about 90% approved. They did have one question about the homeless set aside, like Dr. Hall said that there was about 25 homeless students. So they wanted us to increase that just a little bit, homeless set aside for Title II. So we've done that and resubmitted it to PED. So we are in the approval process for that. But yes, so Title I would be instructional assistant salaries. Title II would be the instructional coach. Title III is supplies and materials. And again, that is in the consortium with Rec 2 because we don't hit the threshold to be in our own funding source for that. Title IV is a partial teacher salary submitted in the unified application. And then again, that was for additional tutoring. And then IDEA, which PED has still not opened the allocations yet, or the application there is for special education salaries.
Thanks, Lisa. It all matches. I just knew that they had approved it, so wanted to be sure we weren't. Yeah, thank you.
Always good to double check 100%.
Thanks, dear.
Thank you.
Perfect. So then I don't think we need to approve those. It would just be approving the operation budget, knowing that there's alignment with what we've already approved and the budget. Does that kind of seem in alignment, y'all?
I think so, yes, because you've already
Perfecto.
approved
Okay, yeah.
the others. Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the operational budget for fiscal year 26?
I will make a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2026.
I will second that motion.
You poor thing, Christine.
Okay, roll call vote, please. Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Pahi, yes.
Perfect. Well, now, Josh, you are free. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and all of your work on all of this budgets and all of the things that you've been going above and beyond, I think, to really help us move this forward. So really appreciate all of your time on this, and we will see you at the next one if I don't see you before
Absolutely.
then, because we probably will.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thanks, Josh. Okay. Now we get to end the meeting with the fun stuff, right? The school leader report, the fun. So Dr. Hull coming back and giving us some fun.
I'll try to make it fun.
Now that
I'll
we've
try
gotten all
to
the business out of the way, right? That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, it's not all the business. Now we
All
get to
right.
actually celebrate the school and all of the things that we love about it. So there we go.
Yes. We're not talking about money right now. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to give you a report on the enrollment, and these numbers as of today, like when I left the building. So right now, so there's different, I always call it like hard numbers and then like soft numbers. So basically, when parents get enrolled or when they get accepted, so they put their application in, I just want to just define some terms because of the fact that it really is important that you understand how I'm coming up with these numbers. So when they apply and then they get that letter of acceptance and they click there's a link in there and they click it, I accept kind of thing. Like, you're in, do you accept? Yes. So we have 72 people, parents, or 72 kids that have clicked the button but haven't done anything yet. Like, they still have to do the forms. Okay, that's good. They clicked it, but that's a soft number. Okay, then we have 149. And these are all new. This is not including the kids that are there. I'll talk about that in a second. So they are either enrolled or they completed their form. So if you are totally enrolled, you've completed everything, it's been checked, it's good, signed, sealed, delivered. If you are complete, that means they did all the forms and we're checking to make sure that everything is good, and then they move to the enrolled. But that's a hard number. When you get complete all your forms, I'm considering that a hard number because you got all that stuff you got through forms A through whatever, and you're coming. At least I would think. Yeah. So 149. And then we have 35 that clicked the accept. They started doing the forms and they're in the middle of the A through, I think, J, or I don't even remember how many forms there are. At least 7 or something like that, because you have to fill out those things. So there's somewhere in between starting the forms and not finishing yet. Okay. And so that's 35. So I'm using the hard numbers of 149. I'm not including the forms, people in the middle. I don't know if they're coming, and they accept it. So we have right now, with 203 returning K5, 276 returning 612. That's 479 returning plus the 149. We have 628 right now. And so remember, our budget is 715, right? It's all based on 715. So we need to hit that magic number to have that budget that Josh just shared. Anything over, excellent. But we must hit it. If we don't hit 715, that's not good because
Well,
then
and hit and sustain through 40-day
40
count.
day.
Yep.
Right. We have, again, that's a great point. So we have to keep those kiddos through the 40. We want to keep them all year, but we have to keep them to the 40 day because that's the only number that PED cares about, I guess. And that determines our funding for the whole year. And I always tell my teachers, like, if 100 kids came on day 41, you don't get any more money. You just got to figure it out. Not that that would happen, but you never know. So, so we want kids to come now. So we have, so, 628 is a good number. We're on the road and we have that list of about 100 kids that somewhere in the process they need to get moving. So we are calling them. This is the outreach part now. Our secretary and office managers are calling and calling. Are you okay? Do you need help? Want to come on in? We're having another night tomorrow night. The elementary had their night tonight. We have another night tomorrow night it's actually for new people, but we usually have a mix of people. So it's new or people in the process or whatever. Everyone's invited at Del Rey tomorrow night. We're still doing those sessions monthly. And actually we're doing 2 or 3 because we do like an orientation, which is more for parents that are already in because we're starting to engage them. We're getting teachers there. We're getting them, and they've been great to show up at these engagement things and get to know. Because if a child clicks with the teacher, they're more likely to, yes, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna stay. And so we're doing orientation nights, and we're doing the get to know you like info sessions for people. But we always have a mixture of people. Either they applied and they need help, or they don't even know what we are and they just came by because they saw us on Facebook. So that's fine. We individualize. That's perfect. That's our model. So we look at we kind of survey the population of the people that show up. And the orientation nights have been amazing. Over 50 families every time. And this last orientation, this celebration, it's all kind of mishmash together. And it's late, so But the last orientation night, we have an EA that was like, "Hey, do you want some kids to be there?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. That's what we want to showcase our kids." I mean, we're going to get to the point, especially like we talked about, with teaching our kids these skills where they're doing the tours, they're doing the info night, and we're just like, "Go, do it." So our kids were there, and we actually just started our house system. So then they had little booths. They wanted to do booths and games, and so right away there's the new families engaging with our kids and seeing what they're doing and learning about the houses and learning our kids and walking around, seeing our flavors. It was the best. It was so amazing. So the next orientation will be coming up soon here in the early June. One more orientation in June with the kids still there. And then we'll keep doing them, but like it's always better. And maybe some kids will come on a day in the summer if they're bored, and we'll give them pizza or something. So that is a good number. The other thing we did, and thanks to the amazing teachers that showed up on a Saturday, we went to the farmers market. So I looked up the farmers market and I was like, hey, I want a booth there. And so we went down, and actually one of our parents runs the farmers market part. And I walked in, I was like, hey, I know you. And so I did a little training with them, nonprofits, which schools are considered in this respect. So we're allowed to do once a month, have a booth at the market. So we were there on May 3rd. We had teachers show up. We had a booth, we had candy, we brought the stuffed dragon, and people came over and we had some great conversations. And even if it's like, hey, what is that? I never heard of that school. And so that's awesome. And we had teachers show up and they got to talk to the teachers. We're going to have another one June 7th. We'll be at the farmers market. And so come out and see us. For everyone that's watching this online and not part of the meeting later on YouTube, come see us. We're looking for you. If you're looking for something different and really project-based, exciting flavors, and yeah, we're there. So K-12. Also, we're looking at, I don't have a TikTok. I know that's probably bad, but I don't. And so, like, I need to get with the program because that's where people are. So we're working on setting up a TikTok for our school and to use for outreach. And so I'll try to figure that out. Like I just got going with Facebook now. Here we go. But and then we recruited a few kids that will help. Yes, Claire.
I wanted to just quickly interject because we're talking about social media marketing. If you haven't heard of Paddy Post, Paddy Post, it's like $60 for a lifetime subscription.
I never heard it.
And it's like Hootsuite. So it does, you can essentially post on up to 4 social media accounts at the exact same time with the same post and schedule everything in advance. So I highly suggest anything like Hootsuite, or Patty Post is way cheaper than Hootsuite, which is why I brought it up. I just started using it. It's pretty low barrier of learning. And highly suggest if you're really starting to want to get like multiple posts going, which is really the only way to be successful with social media marketing. So
Right.
yeah,
Good
just
point.
wanted to put that out there. Patty Post, PADDY
Patty
Post.
Post. I'll go
Yep,
check
and
it out.
it's the cheapest thing I've been able to find so far.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I've never heard of that. And so we talked to some kids and some staff members because, certain kids have releases and others don't, media releases, but these kids actually, they came up to and they said, can we do some social media? And I was like, okay, so like, this is what we need. So that's cool. And some staff members, we want to make some fun videos. We want to make some creative video. I put video out just showing our flex space. Sometimes it's just those little things, those little snippets. And so we're going to continue doing that, working the social media and the TikTok. Um, and let's see. Oh, so that's the outreach that we're doing right now. Maybe we'll try to get on. I know that we're working a little bit. Mr. Gomez has some contacts with the radio station. We did something last summer with the radio station. We went out to the airport and did a little event. So we're looking to see what that would be and if they would put a little ad up on the radio station. Yes, Chair Raleigh.
Sorry. I
That's
was
all
just gonna say, if you have any kick butt students, like your student leadership group, put them on the TikTok. Don't try it yourself. Have them do it. That's what whenever we had student leaders for our CTSOs, I mean, their TikToks are way better than anything I could create. So just wanted to put that out there. Don't
well,
think that
yeah,
you have to learn
yeah,
TikTok, but
mine are good.
those student leaders are amazing at social media. Just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're trying to get some to do that and we have to work that angle and see how they would want to do that. So I think they would. We're just gotta find the right kids that want to do it. Some of them are just very shy. They're just shy in certain areas, but like we saw some of them at the market and then quickly like looked at us and then I like walked the other way. I don't know. They're kind of funny. But they get a little shy. Like they see us out in public and they're like, "What are you doing out here?" Um so yeah, that's the outreach we're doing. Continually also it's like just telling our teachers we made some new flyers and so take one. Like I went to the dentist this morning, 7 in the morning, and I'm talking about, oh, do you have kids? Where do they go to school? Kind of deal. So like, it's all of that just reaching out and just saying, hey, did you know about us? Because they always say, what do you do? And so that's the lead into things when you do small talk. But that's really important, that warm market. Okay, so other 2 quick things. I know it's late. Elementary sort for houses. So remember, all of our secondary kiddos are sorted in their houses. Elementary sort is this Friday. They're super excited. They're going to go down the slide on the playground and it's going to be fun. And so that is on Friday. And there's lots of activities going on at the elementary school. I just want to give them a shout out for all the teachers working so hard and raising money. And they've been going out and getting donors choose and writing these projects to fund their flavors. I mean, more of that. And it's just been amazing. They're like, oh yeah, I got donors choose and they paid for all this stuff. And I was like, wow. So just kudos to our teachers for doing those things and going above and beyond and really for their kids and some field trips that they did some fundraising. So they're rocking and rolling at the elementary school. So shout out to Mr. Gomez and the team there. And like I said, it's a secondary. We are rocking and rolling at the market and doing these things just to outreach and teachers show up at our orientations. And I just can't thank them enough for doing all of that because they'd rather see them than me and Mr. Zapata. Even though, it's very nice to see them, but like they want to see teachers. They don't want to see us all the time. So Mr. Zapata does an amazing job with that and outreach and just being our really a spokesman for our house system and teaching. And man, it's just that we have a great leadership team. So I just want to just give them all a shout out. And that's it. So thanks everyone.
I assume it's now my chance to close out this meeting after such a long meeting. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank
But
you,
we do have a
Karen.
couple of rather important things, one of which actually needs action. If you notice the first under
Yes.
B1, I disagree with this form. Many people do, but the Charter Schools Division has determined that this is the best form to notify the PED when you're adding grades. I disagree with it, and so do many school lawyers, because this is for establishing, reorganizing, or closing schools, none of which you are doing. You are approved by your contract to add grade 12. However, I don't want to make anybody mad at PED. So I filled this form out on your behalf. I need your permission to submit it and sign it and submit it. It has obviously Dr. Hull and the address of the school, the two co-chairs, and your generic email. Is it a request for closure? No. Is it a request for a new school? No. Is it reorganization? No. I explain here that it's being submitted per the direction of the Charter Schools Division, and explain about our charter and basically what we've added each year, and that we're adding grade 12 for next year. And then I'm putting not applicable on all these questions because I don't think we should spend any time on it. Not applicable, the school's not closing, not applicable, the school's not closing, it's not a new school. There is no reorganization as you were authorized for K-12 by the charter. School is adding its final grade, yahoo, grade 12 next year. No, none of these things apply in terms of being on tribal lands, a substantial population of Native Americans. I don't think there are any tribal bands. Well, depends what you define as the boundaries of your school district or charter school, because you actually are the whole state. So then I would have to say yes there, but I don't think that's what they mean. I put that though regularly discussed with the board, no formal vote is required to include grade 12, as that was approved for the charter contract and amendments with the PEC. However, the board did discuss the PED required form at the May 14th board meeting. I want to attach these minutes that you did approve this form, submitting this form. Community input is not required at this point because we did that way back when we did our original charter and your amendment request. And then these are all optional, so I'm not answering them. And then this is the part where something cut out of this when I transferred it to, trust me, there's a place for signatures. Somehow when I got it into the Google, I just put a Google Doc into Google, but there is a place for signature. And I'm asking for your approval and then permission to have Dr. Hull and Clara Rayleigh's signatures, or Christine's, added to this document. Basically, it's just letting them know you're adding grade 12.
I motion to approve, but without digital signature, if you could send it for me to sign, that would be preferable.
Okay. I don't have a digital.
If you just send me the PDF and I'll put in my digital. Yep.
Sure.
We have a second.
I second that. And then we'll take a vote. Clara Riley,
Yes.
Christine Reyes,
Yes.
Gabriella Graham,
Yes.
Linnell Packney, yes.
I actually don't think I need a signature, Clara, after all.
Oh, sweet.
I just need to attach. No, I guess I was wrong. I'm looking at the original Word on my desktop, and no, it didn't lose anything. I was wrong. It's all the signatures that are added are PED ones. So I just need to have the minutes from this meeting or a certification of board vote. So I may need you to sign that instead.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks. The next thing was, we're getting to that last month of the year, evaluations annually. I did send out an email to board members, so I'm not going to spend time now. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions, or of course to your co-chairs. But you do need to complete your head administrator evaluations by the end of June. And we need that when the CSD visits next year. And we also need a self-assessment of the governing board. They will ask about that. So generally, each board member fills out their input and provides it to the chair or co-chairs. I would defer to them as to how you want to proceed with that. I know there's a new form. You may want input from Tony. Oftentimes, generally, our head administrator provides sort of a reflection and information. And I know that's part of the Excel New Mexico anyway. So I defer to you how you want to handle it. Just wanted to remind everyone that we have these to do, or rather you have these to do. And any questions, direct my way or to the co-chairs.
Perfect. I'll just send out an email, guys, so that all of us have exactly how we're moving forward with the evaluation. And then Tony, we'll have you just do a self-assessment based off of the same document. Send that to us before we fill out ours, or we'll fill out ours and then you send that to us and then we'll kind of determine that. And then because it's of course going to be a quorum, but it'll be during a closed session, we'll discuss that and then we'll bring you in at the June. We'll just make sure that that's on the agenda for June.
I know that I did it very late today, but I did send out to all of you, and I believe I copied Dr. Hall, copies of this attachments with each of the forms. So that's already been out, but Chair Bailey, if you could follow up with what your expectations are and when it's due.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
The director of the Charter Schools Division is no longer working at PED. So there's a letter on your just wanted to share that with you because it was sent out to school leadership and not sure if it went to governing boards, but your school leadership for sure. So Karina Chavez is no longer the director of the Charter Schools Division as of last Friday. Deputy Director Bridget Russell is now the interim, and they will be seeking a new director. That is an appointed position appointed by the governor. So not sure how that's going to go, but now you know. Charter school conference is in June. Last time I checked the website, the schedule wasn't up there. Not sure if any of you are planning to attend, but the link is there. And the next one is the mandatory training of board members. You all owe some hours. So
yes, we do.
From Miss Karen. I will give kudos to Member Pahi for doing 3 of her 5. So she's the leader of the race right now. The rest of you have some work to do, and it is May, and we have to have it done or you're going to get dinged on your annual report. So please, board members, if you're having any trouble, get in touch with Missy Brown at the PED or get them done. Let me know how I can help.
I do believe all of us have access to, or all of us returning do have access to the, you got an email as well from, from the people at the PEC, the PED. So make sure you look at your emails because you did get a reminder from them as well with how to log into the online one, if that's how you're going to be taking those courses. So yes, I will slap my own hand because I definitely have been a slacker for sure.
We have some
Thank you for the reminder.
Not much, ladies.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yep. Gotta get it done, y'all. Gotta get it done.
And yes, you do. It is something they definitely, one of your indicators on your annual report. And it's kind of an easy meet standard if you just get it. So last thing is the charter renewal process. I said I would have this on the agendas going forward.
Perfect.
I don't need to go over any of this right now unless you have questions, but I just kind of summarized the process. There are no more training sessions being offered, although Missy Brown is available if anyone has questions, if you want to approach them, or I of course am very familiar with this process. I used to be on the other side evaluating it. So but there's your outline of what needs to happen in order for the school to get another 5-year renewal or to request one, and the PEC decides in December whether to approve it or not. Highly doubt that you would not be approved, but it is always a very nerve-wracking hearing in December, and it is up in Santa Fe. So ideally, that's an important one. We should have people there in person if possible. Not everyone, but representatives should definitely be there in person. And with that, I am done at this late hour. Unless you have questions.
Nobody have questions. That's an order. Just kidding. If you do have questions, please let me know. Okay. Any board comments, things that we want, like future agenda items, updates, announcements? Sweet. Last thing is just
Shorter
public
meetings. I'm just kidding.
right?
Shorter meetings.
I think LCPS was in a board meeting for like 6 hours one time. It went into like the wee hours of the morning. Anyways, we don't want that. I feel like 10 is the latest so far we've gone, and I'd rather not go any further than that.
And I just want to, for the record, and for our 3 new board members who are sitting still, or 3 were there, now we're down to 2. This is not typical of our board meetings.
No.
I told them like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's our typical board member meeting. We have gone
Yes.
past that, but within 2 hours is usually normal. So please don't be scared away out there. And I know
Yeah.
in traditional school districts, I used to have to go to the meetings sometimes twice a month, and they would start at 5:30, and I usually didn't leave till close to midnight.
Yeah, this is
Budget
definitely
and
not a norm.
Budget and calendar are hot topics.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yep.
I just don't want the board members to think I lied to them about meetings.
Okay, lastly, it's just public comment. This is any item not on the agenda. If you did want to make a public comment at this time, please raise your digital hand, and we will get you over to the main session. Same drill as before. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please make sure that you state your name, relationship to school, comment, topic. There will be no action or comments from the board. Although we may acknowledge receipt of information referred to a staff member or refer the matter to the next agenda.
And so again, those of you who hung out with us this long, if you would like to make a comment, raise your digital hand or put your name in the chat. I'm impressed that there are so many still here.
This is about what we normally have at a board meeting. And then it's like 2 by the end. So
I'm not seeing anything, Chair.
yep, I'm not either. Do we have a motion to adjourn until actually our special board meeting, which I will shoot you guys an email to schedule?
I will make a motion to adjourn this board meeting.
We have a second.
I will second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody.